just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. What a weekend. I tell you what, the game yesterday was absolutely outstanding. But we have a very special guest today, a very special guest. We've got Dylan from the League. How you going, brother?
I'm going very, very well. I don't know if you saw earlier this week, but there was the Rugby League Creator Awards and Bloke beat me for YouTuber of the Year.
Ooh.
So I had to come in here today and set you guys straight, have a little bit of a chat.
Okay.
So, laying that down there.
Okay, the green room's there's been some spicy takes in the green room already.
A little bit too spicy. But hey, don't sell yourself short, Dill, because you won a couple of other awards there. Roosters Creator of the Year, Stacked Field as well. Friend of the show, Hainsey, was nominated for that one.
Yeah. Wow, beat Hainsey.
I'm sure he'll be taking that well.
No
and Breakout Creator of the Year as well. So big year for you with the
Wow.
the awards.
That was an honour. I did not expect that one. There've been so many great creators.
I actually won an award myself overnight. The Playing in Simple podcast, Media Personality of the Year. I beat Buzz Rothfield. So suck on that, Buzz, if you're watching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that is good to hear. I mean, look, that is excellence. That is truly excellence on this panel, guys, award-winning panel. And it's probably the first week of excellence because Guru and Timmy aren't here.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Good pickup. Yeah.
They're on a work trip. Work trip.
Yeah.
Speaking of work trips, yourself over in Japan.
That wasn't a work trip.
Arigato.
Yeah. Konnichiwa. Good to be back. That was just 10 days of just living my best life over there in Japan, which is fantastic.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Because I was just like, you went over there by yourself, so I don't know whether you told the missus like it's work, like
No. I did try to get to some sort of sporting event, so I could claim it as a tax deduction, but unfortunately we're in the. They call it the Climax Series over there for the baseball, the playoffs.
The Climax Series.
Tickets very hard to get a hold of, and I just missed the Sumos by about 2 weeks. So sadly, I won't be able to tax deduct any of that trip, but still had a great time.
Mate, the Sumos, going and watching the Sumos is such a unique experience. Like, it's sick. It's
I did see a few people who could have competed in the Sumos. I went to an onsen. I don't know whether they are ex-athletes or whatever. But
listen, I just want to let you know, our audience probably don't know what an onsen is.
Onsen is in layman's terms, it is like a hot spring where you have to go completely nude.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Okay.
Because I'm a culture vulture.
You're a culture vulture?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
There's this thing called a loyalty service. Have you heard of these before?
No, a loyalty service.
So I sat in a sauna with 20 other gentlemen.
Yeah.
And this bloke comes in and they've got these really nice smelling rocks over in the corner of the sauna, and he comes in. I don't exactly know what happens because he explained it all in Japanese, and I'm not fluent. But he came in with a big fan about the size of a torso, wafted it around a bit, and then what he does is he lines you all up one by one and gives you 3 huge blasts with the fan, and you just about pass out with the heat of this. So I did one of those as well while I was there.
No way.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
Was this still a part of the Climax tournament?
No, that was separate. That's sat separately. But,
okay. No Climax.
I nearly did, to be honest. It was very moving ceremony.
Matty. We're like 5 minutes into my debut on Bloke and about that.
Hey, look, I just want to apologise to the audience for assuming that you wouldn't know what an onsen is. Like,
you uncultured swine.
Yeah, uncultured.
Now you know.
This episode brought to you by Grumpy Coffee, guys. Grumpy Coffee. It's got an 85 out of 100 cup rating, which is really, really good for a blend, guys. We use the best Arabica beans. You will not be disappointed. www.grumpycoffee.com.au. Grab your coffee. Any drama, speak to customer service. Go check the reviews out. They're absolutely glowing. So massive thank you to Grumpy Coffee. But anyway, let's get into Face Some Music. There's no music to face at the moment.
No, none to face at the moment because I was away, obviously, for the review show. So we had the start of the Pacific Championships, of course. But we'll obviously get into the Ashes this week. So a little bit later in the show, we'll definitely...
It's my bread and butter.
Well, I'm talking Rugby League Ashes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Your bread and butter is obviously the cricket.
Yes, apologies.
You're pretty excited with the one-day series.
You know what's crazy is like me being so into cricket, you would have thought I would have known it's not coming up like this weekend.
Yeah. No, we've still got a couple of rounds of Sheffield Shield to go, mate. So don't get too excited. But a bit later in the show, we'll do the Ashes Rugby League and also the Pac Championships Week 2. We'll do a few tips around those and a couple of try scorers as well.
Well, in celebration of the Face Music, who won this year?
Well, you won.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind the people. Yeah,
you beat your employee.
Like he actually won the year by a little bit, but when the finals came, he crumbled.
When the Whips were cracking, it was a great double for you. Broncos won, of course, the NRL Premiership. You won the Face to Music Premiership. So plenty to celebrate.
There you go. So massive thank you as always to Sportsbet, partner of the show. Very, very important to this platform. We are always grateful for their support and their partnership. Give us a follow on the feed as well. I got some up there at the moment. And Pac Champs is here. And then if you want to get around me when the cricket comes, You know,
Perfect time to follow you on the feed.
Perfect time.
What else have you got? You usually have a couple of irons in the fire. Any other weird sports at the moment?
yeah, I think there's an EPL one, like a 3-1 win or something like that.
Nice.
I've got in there. Yeah,
Well played.
Definitely not copying other people's like multis or anything like that.
Yeah, yep.
But that's the good thing about the feed. You can just copy bets and you
Very
don't need to give credit.
Very easy. Did you
There's no
back
little picture with the at someone. You don't need to do that.
Yeah. Did you back Ange to get sacked in less than 8 games? Or
Listen, I thought he'd get a little bit longer. You know, the boys should have scored a few goals in the first half, so I thought they were going to go all right against Chelsea. Listen, I think it was a 3-2 loss. He probably would have kept his job, but it was a 3-0 that really got him.
Very cutthroat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a cutthroat industry over there.
Yeah.
So give us a follow if you want to listen to the depth we're going into here. If you want to get a part of that depth, give us a follow on the feed.
Just before you get into the next bit, can we just go into a little bit of depth on the league? I just had a couple of questions. I thought we could get to know Dill a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Top of the show. So I just wanted to, these are pretty, broad brush strokes. Just, take them wherever you want. But just a couple here. We'll kick off with maybe your favourite footy moment.
Oh, easy. Michael Jennings' 2013 grand final try. That was my first premiership of my life. I've got the commentary memorised.
And just for people, Roosters fan, obviously,
Yes,
unfortunately.
Yeah, knocked off Hainsey.
I was born this way. You can't hold it against me.
Yeah. Okay, so Michael Jennings try. What about your earliest footy memory? Is there one that stands out there?
There is actually. It was a test. The Kangaroos played France in Paris. I went with my dad, and we met Arthur Beetson outside the ground, the late great Arthur Beetson.
No way.
Wow.
Dad's
Far
like a
out.
massive Roosters fan, and he was just terrified. He was like, I can't go up and approach that man. That's Artie. And I'm there like 7 years old, and I'm like, it's okay, Dad. it's just another man. And yeah, we got this great photo.
How good.
When would that have been? What sort of year?
It was in Paris. I can't remember exactly what stadium.
Yeah. 2011 Ashes tour. This is like a few weeks before he passed away. I actually met him at the Wrexham ground, Wrexham FC.
No way.
Before the Kangaroos played Wales. And then, 3 weeks, I got a photo of me having a Guinness with him. And about 3 or 4 weeks later, he passed away.
No way.
Might have been a similar tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, so the Leaguie, great YouTube channel, also Instagram. How'd you get into it?
I've got a mate, my best mate in the world does YouTube as well, completely different area than rugby league. But, I was passionate about it. He was like, yeah, you can put this passion into videos. And I was really dismissive of it, but it just kind of nagged at the back of my mind. And as soon as I came up with the name, The Leaguie, I was like, that's a good name. I need to do it now.
Yeah.
I need to, actually.
How many years ago was this?
February last year.
Wow.
It's been heaps quick.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah.
Far
Not
out.
mucking around.
Jeez, I've been slaving away for a decade. This bloke's bloody done it for a year. He's already
Efficient.
ahead of me. He's already winning the award.
He is sweeping the award.
Yeah,
Not the
sweeping.
YouTube awards, though. That's all you.
Yeah, but you nearly outvoted me.
Bit of a threat. Yeah, and plying your trade in Canberra as well. Good to have another Canberran on the
Yes,
on the panel.
underrated part of Australia.
Yep.
Firmly believe it.
Well,
go to uni down there.
that's allegedly, because that place sucks. It's just a joke. I can
un-
say that. My wife's from Canberra.
Uncalled for.
I remind her all the time the place sucks.
Uncalled for. Last one I had for you. This was just to kind of, go across the generations of the Roosters here. Your all-time Roosters spine, if you could put one together.
Right, Jesus, you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah. So many great options, obviously, with the Roosters. It's a storied club, and they obviously steal everyone else's players, so there's plenty to choose from.
Well, speaking of stealing players, Tedesco, I think you'd have to be number one from your Tigers. 5'8", Fittler's probably hard to look past.
Yep.
Another recent one, though.
Another stolen one.
Halfback, maybe Kevin Hastings. That was my dad's favourite player.
Okay.
I reckon he could go there. And, for number 9, Connor Watson's my favourite player in the world. He's not all-time spine.
Over Friend?
But, yeah, I want to put a new one in.
Wow.
I like that. It's a good representation for across the years there.
Okay.
I don't mind it.
I think that's a hot-based decision, though, the Connor Watson decision.
You needed a hottie in
The
there.
hot pirate. You coined the phrase.
Yeah,
I did. I think it's a hotness-based decision. Because,
Yep.
I love Connor as much as an ex-bloke, but Friendy was pretty bloody good, the 9 there.
He was awesome.
What other big 9s have the Roosters had?
Reece Robson. Geez, I'd have to...
Reece Robson's coming, obviously.
He is
that'll be
coming.
big.
We had
Cheese.
I think Benetti was the name of the one in 02.
Yep.
That's a grand final actually. I was born October 2002. I was overdue, right? My dad, Roosters fan. He hadn't seen his side win in ages. Pregnant wife at home, and is like, look, I can't not go to this game. Okay, I know you're due any moment now, but he bought her a mobile phone.
Yeah.
And
he can leave when she's going to go into
exactly. Luckily, I held on a few days.
Yeah,
that's a good son. That's a good son.
Absolutely. I had the vision.
Yeah,
I had the
okay.
vision.
It
I
all
knew.
makes sense.
You
Footy
missed out on
comes
a premiership though,
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
But all my baby photos are in 02 premiers. gear.
Wow.
There's a Roosters hooker called Sandy Pearce who was like played 100 years ago, but he was widely known as the best ever Roosters hooker. I think his nickname was like the Prince of Hookers or something.
For a Rabbitohs fan, you're pretty deep in the history of the Roosters.
Prince of Hookers, what a nickname.
Yeah, pretty deep in the history of Roosters for a Rabbitohs fan. Wow.
Gotta keep your enemies close.
Know thy enemy.
Yes.
Know thy enemy.
Yep.
I got a current question for you. Now there was a divide, and the last time we did this topic last week on the review, I think most of the panel agreed, but there were people that disagreed. The Roosters fans. We felt that although this year, just looking at it, really good year of development. You know, you snuck into the 8, so definitely a pass mark this year. However, when you go bird's eye view, if the Roosters don't make a strong push into a solid season where they genuinely look like premiership heavyweights, a prelim, probably a grand final in the next year or two, there might be mass changes above.
Yeah, I remember listening to that podcast, and it is an interesting one because, as you say, there's a lot of young players there, lots of guys coming through. But you look, say, post Tedesco, I think he'll play next year and the year after, but I think he'll struggle beyond that. Now that Nawaqanitawasa is not at the club anymore, there's a big gap there at fullback. It could be the case of a premiership window shutting in a couple of years' time. And the fact is, as you guys often say here, since 2019, the Roosters haven't made a real push. You know, we finished, I think, third one year, but
third last year. I think that was the only prelim you've made in 5 years.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So we are a club that is used to success and doesn't really tolerate much below that.
Yep.
So they could well be, we're comfortable going to market. If the names are out there, then
yep.
Absolutely.
Well, but I think, you know what? That's a perfect example because I think we said exactly how I just said it. We said it and people misunderstood what we said. We were more alluding to coaching.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with coaching, there's two sides of that coin, right? There's the coach you sack and the coach you bring in. Who else is out there that can be anywhere near the level of Trent Robinson?
Yep.
In my opinion. So I think that's one that we'll hold on to him. But I will admit there have been times in his tenure where I've thought he's lost the dressing room, or at least they're not responding in the same way as they used to. So depends who else comes along.
So let's just a scenario put up. You just go another 2 years where you're just get into the 8, you lose week 1. Is there pressure on Trent Robinson? That's 8 years without anything.
I think there's always pressure on Trent Robinson. Look, maybe, but again, two sides to that coin.
Yep. Who do you bring in?
Yeah, say like a Craig Fitzgibbon, right? Who is a Rooster through and through. I don't think he's going to leave the project that he's got going at Cronulla.
Yep.
I think he's probably one of the only guys who I think is coming through as a coach that could be that elite tier of your Bellamy's and your Waynes and your Robinsons. So, yeah, it really depends who's out there.
Okay. Well, my opinion is I do think there'll be a lot of pressure on Trent Robinson. I think that he needs to... I know he's got a new youngish roster coming through, but 8 years, I just can't see the Roosters sitting back and going, 8 years, we haven't really done much. I just think... I mean, you guys made a prelim every year with Mitch Pearce, and you still moved him on. And look, I respect in the sense of, obviously, I'm not happy Pearce got moved on, but I respect in the sense it worked. They made the tough call. They won the comp. However, you bring up a good point. Who do you bring in? Actually, go around the panel. Is Robbo under pressure if he doesn't fire a shot in the next 2 years?
I think next year. I think next year's a huge year for the Roosters. They've been floating around the 6th to 8th best team for the last 5 years since 2019. They got pumped in the prelim last year. I reckon next year's a huge, especially now that Robson's coming in. The forwards, all the young guys that have had, they all debuted this year and they did a really good job, but they got to put it together next year. I don't think he'll get sacked next year if they just scrape to the 8, but I reckon next year's a huge year for Trent Robinson.
I mean,
yes, can definitely buy himself a bit more time. I think they will give it a shake next year.
Yeah, so do I.
Their best footy they showed this year was good enough to beat anybody. They just weren't able to produce it. When it got cutthroat, they couldn't do 4 weeks in a row of that elite footy. They'd have to dip every now and again. They did it against the Sharks, obviously, and went out in week 1. But their best footy is very good. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the DCE thing as well.
That was the next question.
Yeah.
Do you, if it is true that DCE is coming to the club, do you agree with the decision?
Yes, I do. On the basis that it's a 1 year deal for $500K.
Yeah.
Because we're paying Chad. Well, we did pay Chad Townsend $350K for a 1 year deal this year. So, if he comes in for one season, I think there's not really a loss there.
Yep.
If Savala stays at the club, which by all accounts he will, if DC's not performing, you can just drop Savala straight back in. So, I don't really see the downside as such. And I'd rather be a fan of a club who rolls the dice to potentially win a premiership, getting a guy like DC in and backing themselves to get the best out of him, than a club who recruits, conservatively.
Yeah, okay. Well, and they have a history of being pretty ruthless in the market. I didn't want to interrupt you, but some absolute terrible human being moved the toilet off the bench, the famous toilet. I don't know who did it. Can you dob on them, please, Matty? Who moved that off the bench?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't me when I set up the studio this morning.
Ooh, very disappointing. Very disappointing.
So I thought we'd move past, I thought that was done now. So
Stop living in the past.
We're still like literally the current premiers.
Yeah, we pack
And
championships now.
young boy,
we're
Hot Boy
Ashes now.
Reese, the hottest video on Instagram on the weekend. You guys you didn't want to reply to my message in the group chat because you're fucking dogs. Just admit that Reese Walsh was the hottest bloke on the Instagram.
that was a good
It was
video.
good.
Yeah, well, why didn't you answer the message?
It's sort of 50 frames. Or
I was on
something like
holidays.
Well, you can still answer the message.
that. Yeah, I was a bit tired from Japan. So.
Yeah, disrespectful. Disrespectful. Thought we were mates. I understand. I get what you're saying in regards to they have always been ruthless. I just like, geez, losing. You're losing Santa Smith, which I like. It's not the biggest loss in the world, but it is a loss. I just wonder, like, I don't. Look, if Rubber is able to get DCE and Sam Walker to work together, then, I mean, he's a much better coach than me, obviously, but I just don't see how they work together. Like, Sam Walker has to be the main man, and I feel like you guys have tried this experiment over and over of, like, bring an experienced guy in and Sam Walker goes to the second fiddle, and then it doesn't work. They start playing shitty footy. Anytime you bring him into the main man, you guys play good footy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is one common theme with Sam Walker's development where we've had Cooper Cronk in the building as a halves consultant, Keary as his halves partner. I think Mitchell Pearce even has a role.
Yeah.
There's so many of these voices telling Sam Walker how to be a halfback, and he's not a normal halfback.
No.
He's his own style.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned that there might be, DC, another voice telling him what to do. They would have to very clearly set up, this is Sam Walker's team.
Yeah.
DC, you've got a year, you're playing second fiddle, play creatively.
Yeah.
And yes, although that's not really DCE's style, I do back him to be able to do it.
Yeah, okay.
So
Very, very interesting. Any more questions on the...
No, that was it. I just wanted to, obviously just dig a bit deeper into the Roosters fandom there.
Of course.
Hopefully we've all got a bit of a clearer picture of the Leaguie now. Do you want to
But obviously, go give follow Leaguie on the Instagram and on YouTube as well. Okay, let's get into it. Hungriest player. Bloke Club members, www.bloke.club, join. It's completely free. Check your emails. You should have received an exclusive Bloke offer late last week where you get $10 off. So it's time for the Hungriest player. Listen, this is a really tough one because obviously the standard of each game wasn't necessarily equal. However, I just thought Dream Buller was so good we couldn't not give it to him. So use code Buller, BULA, for $7 off Indian restaurant near you. And also our local shout out goes to Ginger Indian in Harris Park with nearly 20 years worth of authentic Indian food. 20 years as a small business, that means you're about something. If 20 years is a small business,
stand for something.
You stand for something, absolutely. Are you clocking me? Have you seen that Justin Bieber film?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, bro.
How funny. It's so good.
Bro, so there's this like viral video of Justin Bieber. He's clearly wigging out. Understandably so. If you're getting chased by paparazzi all the time, you'd wig out too. But he's like, I'm a human being. I'm standing on business. Are you not clocking me? Anyway, Dream Buller, outstanding game. Interesting times at the Tigers. So there's been a lot of talk about him going to the open market. So basically the contract setup is this. If the club activate his contract, he gets paid $900K a year. If he activates his contract, his clause, he gets $800K a year. There's a bit of a Mohican standoff at the moment where it seems like Buller's waiting for them to activate. They're waiting for him to activate. So it looks like he's going to the open market. My personal opinion is we know how good Buller is. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone that he played this well. However, I can kind of understand where the club is coming from. I don't think right now he's worth 900 or even 800, but I can also understand where Buller's coming from. It's like, I'm going to hold off until I get the best deal possible. What are your thoughts on Buller's current situation? Yeah, well, it is an interesting one, as you say. I think Hammy, particularly as a Tigers fan, will have thoughts on it. But it's good to see the West Tigers standing firm. Yeah, there's something that for so long they've struggled to do. They've overpaid for players. To see them looking at a star player like Buller at the age of 23 in a very, very key position and say, no, we're standing firm on our salary cap plan, that is a sign of real good administration. So, yeah, I think it's a fascinating standoff, but good to see from a Tigers perspective. Where would you place Buller? If you were on the open market and Buller was like, I want to come to your club, what would you pay for him?
It's a tough one. I think he needs to still find a little bit more consistency. I'd be looking more at the 750 mark, I think, than the 8s or the 9s that are in that contract now. Okay. Hammy, thoughts on the situation, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrifying situation, as always, at the West Tigers.
Is there a year where you haven't been terrified?
No. no. And just when you get comfortable, something, that you don't expect makes you even more terrifying.
Like one of the best young talents in the club, like leaves or something like that,
he turned out to be not that good.
There it is.
Well,
Oh, it's been brewing for months.
He could have stayed and won as many finals with us. So, anyway, but I am a little bit worried about Buller. He's got the same manager, but also his wife was at the Tigers women's squad, and I believe she's going to move club. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where she's going, but I know at the start of the season I was like, how good's this? She signed as well. That's got a bit of stability for us. But now that she's left, it does make me feel a bit uneasy. I reckon, to answer your question, how much is he worth? I think I'd be happy parting with 800k to keep him. The 900 does seem a little bit up there, but I understand why we had to probably do that to incentivise him to stay.
Yeah. Especially when he signed that contract, he was like flying.
Yes, that's right. But his best foot is really good, and it is tough to find a good fullback. He's played at the club for a couple of years. Hopefully, he wants to stay. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a nerve-wracking time as usual for Tigers fans.
It's super interesting because, like, I would also, if I had to, pay him 800k because I think he's a bloody good footy player, and I also think his ceiling is quite high because he's not a huge body, but he's definitely not small either. He's got really good hands, relatively quick, strong in contact, pretty fit as well. I thought he had a good year this year, but it is an interesting one because it's like when you actually go around to each club, there's not many clubs that would pay 800k for Buller right now because they've either got a young guy that's like maybe something, or they've got an established fullback that is a little bit of a tier above. What do you reckon about that situation, Matty?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I personally think that Buller's probably not worth 900. I think that's obvious. I think the Tigers would want to keep him, but I think you're right. I think like there isn't enough teams that will take him for 800. So I reckon the Tigers kind of have the power here a little bit, where maybe they could pull Buller in and say, hey, can we just get rid of this current contract? Because it's 900k for 1 year. Like it's 100 grand for 1 year.
Yep.
So maybe they can pull Buller in and say, look, you're probably not going to get this money anywhere. How about we do a 2 or 3 year deal for 750 or 8? And I would suspect that Buller might take that because who else is going to pay that much? So I reckon they might actually cancel this clause and try and see if they can do a longer term deal with a less of a price. That's just how I'm saying
listen,
it.
if you get Buller for 2-3 years, like 700, 750, 8 even, I think that's a good deal. And
I think it's a good deal. I don't think he's going to get that anywhere else.
Yeah, because it's funny how fullback, it's almost our, obviously number 7's the most important position, but it's almost like the glamour position fullback at the moment, and it's a pretty full position. So as long as he's happy at the club, I thought he was good this year. I thought, if you can land him for 700, 750k, I would say it's necessarily a bargain, but I definitely don't think you're overpaying either. I think you're pretty happy with his output there. Also, if you're a club looking to make it in the 8, if you're paying 750 for your fullback, you're probably pretty happy. Like you're not paying 1.2 million. So it's interesting to watch. It's the thing that's tough though. It seems it's about more than money though, just because of that. Obviously, Isaac Moses situation. It may not even be the case. But it just is there, it's just there. Isaac Moses might be saying, bro, you should stay. It's a great offer. But it's just, you can't help but be like, that's there, Yeah.
It'd be such a shame to see the politics of player agents cause a guy like Dream Buller to abandon what the Tigers are building right now. I mean, they've got such a good culture going at that joint. Obviously, Isaac Moses, what can you say about him that hasn't already been said? It does limit his options, though. Yeah. Buller. Like, a club like mine, the Roosters, refused to negotiate with Moses. So I initially thought maybe Buller would take the 1 year deal and then come off contract when I think James Tedesco retires. But that won't be an option now for him. So
yeah, very true.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the thing about Isaac Moses, look, ethics, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, so it's very hard to judge. In regards to a manager doing his job, you don't get much better. Like, you seriously don't get much better. With Buller, is there a chance he lands at the Bulldogs? He was seen at the Bulldogs game. Now, that was just to support a friend. However, Connor Tracy, you could make the argument that Buller probably has a higher potential tier than Tracy. However, Tracy, even though back into the year his form dropped a bit, is arguably more consistent. Is there a chance the Bulldogs land him?
I love Connor Tracy, but I think a lot of the discussions that we'll end up having about Connor Tracy is similar to what we're having about Will Kennedy at the Sharks, where he can get them to a high level, but is he going to get them a grand final win? Yeah. That I'm not confident about. Buller, at age 23, I think with the amount of growth that's ahead of him, he could potentially. So if the money is right, but the thing is, how do the Bulldogs fit him in? They've got so many big money guys now. Leo Thompson coming for next season.
Yep.
It'll be tough.
I think that Burton is the most biggest watch at the Bulldogs next year. That's the biggest watch because there'll be probably about 700K tied up in him right now. But yeah, look, he was absolutely phenomenal on the weekend, and it was so good to watch Fiji. I know, it was a 44-24 score, but like Fiji were substantially better side. And it's so good to watch them build slowly. Like if they can just land, a couple more forwards, it's a pretty good side. Like you got Buller, Taruva, you got Jennings, Bellamy and Rinikama. So that's an NRL backline. You've got Kurt Donahue, who I rate extremely highly and who was great on the weekend. Wakeman. Wakeman's probably fringe as a first grade, but still a first grader. It's really just when you get into the forwards, they've got a few fringe first graders other than Kamikamitha. If they can just, a few Fijians come through the next grades in the forwards, all of a sudden they might be able to really take, they have taken it to New Zealand before in the World Cup. They nearly beat them in the quarterfinals, I think, a few years ago. But really, really good for Fiji.
Yeah, mate. I made a video on it recently on YouTube. For Fiji, you've got the likes of Kick Out, right? He didn't play in this game. The two Saifidi brothers, eligible for Fiji. Yep. Regan Campbell-Gillard, eligible for Fiji and has played for them in the past. Yep. So these guys are there. If Fiji are at their best, it's a side that absolutely can compete with Samoa and Tonga. Yep. They just struggle to actually put their best 17 on the field these back into the season games.
Happy Coruscant as well?
Abby Coruscant. I think the difference between Fiji and, say, Tonga is like if Terome is injured for Samoa, Samoa, not Tonga. If Terome is injured for Samoa, they still have crazy other people that can. Whereas if Fiji, if you just put the best Fiji 17 out in this field, it's as good as really Samoa, or potentially as good as Samoa Tonga. However, the depth of Fiji, if you lose some of those players, as we can see, you're getting reserve graders in that.
That's 100% correct, but we were saying that as well about Samoa and Tonga 5 years ago.
Very true, so very true.
Hopefully it will follow the same trajectory.
Very true. I tell you what, I went to Fiji when I first met my wife, and nicest humans on the planet.
Easily.
Literally the nicest humans on the planet. I'm like, why are you saying, I'm on holiday and you're happier than me. That's how happy they are. So massive congratulations to Buller. Playing good footy at the right time with contracts coming up. He is our Hungriest player. Thank you to Menulog for always supporting the platform. Use code Buller for $7 off Indian. Okay, it's time for the Kayo Can't Miss moment of the week. And it was Payne Hass's absolutely insane. It says 79 minutes here, but it was an 80-minute performance.
Nah, he went off for 1 minute.
Listen, I'm giving him 80 minutes.
No ticker.
No ticker. Just soft mentally. It was essentially 80-minute performance. He continues to show us, I understand that you can go, okay, this former front rower has more premierships and this former front has these achievements that might be better than Samoa. I still stand by it, and I think I've stood by it for quite a while. No front rower has done stuff like this. They might have done it once or twice. They might have done it for a single year or even a couple of years. They haven't done it for 5 years straight. On the weekend, Payne Hass, 80 minutes, 184 metres, 2 offloads, 52 tackles, 0 missed. Usually, when I see 52 tackles and 0 missed, it's a dummy half that had no runs, and I'm still super impressed because it never happens, 52 tackles, 0 missed. He had that, plus he ran for essentially the most metres of any forward on the field, I'm pretty sure. Absolutely phenomenal first game from Payne Hass. What a great game for Samoa as well. I know there was a lot of disappointed Samoan fans, but the fact that it was essentially 2 bomb tries that kept you out of a win, I thought it was a great game yesterday. Samoa led the charge for, Payne Hass led the charge for Samoa.
Yeah, well, the incredible thing is that it's still only 25, right? So when we talk about the legacies other players have, he's still got such a long time to generate that legacy. But yeah, Haas to Samoa is one that international fans such as myself had been waiting for years. Yeah. To see it happen and to see it happen to that extent, up against the Kiwi forward pack of Tapine, you've got so many great players in the middles there for the Kiwis. For him to do it for the whole game long, and especially, there was the unfortunate concussion to Mariota. That meant that he was playing a bigger role than probably they initially telegraphed for him. But he's the kind of guy who we saw in the final series will just do whatever he needs to do.
It's a great point in regards to who he was playing. He didn't do this against a small forward pack that he can just roll. He did it against Leota, Tapine, and Fish. Don't get me wrong. I thought those guys played outstanding. But you really couldn't get a tougher forward pack to make meters against than the Kiwi.
Well, I think it's the best forward pack in international footy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and when they came off, it was White, Solomona, and Clark. It doesn't get any easier.
Crazy. So. And then Wilson sitting as 18th man.
He was the best. He was the next highest forward was Tarpany with 145 metres, so he cleared it
And he made a line break as well. So, and don't get me wrong, we'll get to Tapane in the review. He was phenomenal. But yeah, Payne Haas, he was our Kayo Can't Miss moment. Absolutely. You know, if you didn't get a chance to watch the game, go and watch it. It was a super exciting game. Plenty of twos and throws. Anyone could have won it. But Payne Haas was just phenomenal. You could see how much it means to him. What a year has been for Payne Haas. Like, a year where, like last year, we're all sitting there going, Payne Haas can't play any better footy. He literally can't. Like, how could he? He's already doing things we've never seen before. He literally goes to another level the year after. Crazy, crazy times. So he's our Kayo Can't Miss moment, guys. Guys, the summer of cricket has started. It's officially begun with Australia and India facing off in an unmissable series. The only place to watch every ODI and T20 series match is Fox Cricket, available on Kayo. And Kayo now have a partnership with the great cricketers. And like, the best in the business of great cricketers. Obviously, outside of ourselves when it comes to cricket, it's like it goes bloke in a bar when talking about cricket, and then daylight, and then great cricketers talking about cricket.
Yeah, don't forget the grubs as well in there.
Yeah, obviously the grubs as well there. But yeah, the great cricketers are part of Kayo now too, so you can watch all their content on Kayo. Also, the F1 Championship battle continues in Mexico as Piastri hits the high altitude. Didn't he someone crashed into Piastri who crashed into Lando just overnight or something like that?
Yeah, he wasn't happy. Piastri, he's slipped, hasn't he? He's basically lost his lead.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no.
Poor bloke.
And the Trans-Tasman rivalry reignites as the Australian Diamonds take on the Silver Ferns in the Constellation Cup. Okay, and look, this is a new segment, guys, but I just had to do it because my goat strikes again. Listen, it was a long weekend, and it was a great weekend, but my son, look, he was a lot this weekend. He's in his terrible two stages.
Chip off the old block.
And so I had a frown. I had a frown that needed to be turned upside down, and my goat, Taane Milne, did that. He, once again, I asked for it on Friday. I said, goat, please. I prayed to the footy gods. Please, my goat, Taane Milne, please get suspended or do something where you are put on report.
Yep.
Anyway, on the weekend, he has been put on report for a head high, which is great stuff. That's Milne. He's the goat. Now, I just want to read his rap sheet since 2021 because this is why he is the GOAT. So 2021, he was fined for a grade 1 careless high tackle on Mitchell Moses. 2022, finals week 3, he received a 6-game suspension for a reckless high tackle on Spencer Leniu. And look, he doesn't go after just no-names. He goes after the big dogs. He's going Mitchell Moses, Spencer Leniu. He was the first player sent off in a finals match in nearly 30 years. GOAT. World Cup reprieve. The suspension from Leniu hit was controversially served during the off-season Rugby League World Cup, with Milne not missing any NRL matches because they know he brings the fans back. That's why they did that.
Yep.
Sin bin Sunday. There were 7 sin bins in this game, and Taane Milne was 2 of them. Great stuff. Great stuff. My GOAT continued. 2023, he was charged 3 times during the season, but did not receive any suspension because they know he brings the people back. Fined $3,000 for a careless high tackle. 2024, in round 8, he was suspended for 2 matches for a grade 3 dangerous contract charge following a cannonball tackle on Cam Munster. Well, we don't really like those ones. Round 21, he was fined $1,800 for a careless high tackle on Canberra's Xavier Savage. Look at his rap sheet. Like, he's not going after nobodies. He's going after the big dogs. Round 23, he was fined $3,000 for tripping Ryan Papenhuyzen.
Yeah.
And you thought, hey, he's not in the NRL anymore. We will have seen the last of the GOAT, Taane. No, he's back, and he's back in a big way. He's head high on the weekend. Actually, I'll just get it up. Matter of fact, he's such the GOAT that I put a screenshot of the picture of him getting fined on my social media, like my story. So he's fined for a high tackle on Makatoa. It's actually the most views my story's ever got in the history of and by a lot too. I'm talking by 20 or 30,000. So my GOAT strikes again.
Did you see, I can't remember who posted it, but someone posted that he got fined and he actually commented on it saying how much.
Yeah. He saw the story and he laughed at it. He was like, man, everyone hates me. And I was like, bro, it's love-hate. It's a love-hate relationship.
It's like when a mate of yours, you've had him for so many years, he goes over to England for a year, comes back and nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Is the old lovable self.
Yeah,
That's exactly
absolutely
what it's like. That's what Taane is to the rugby league world.
Yeah, well, he's playing for Huddersfield at the moment in the Super League.
Yep.
Against Wakefield Trinity this year in September. Grade A head contact, 1 match suspension. So he's still doing the damn thing.
He's still doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
And so he turned my frown upside down. That segment was brought to you by Grumpy Coffee, guys. grumpycoffee.com.au. Grab your coffee today. It's 100% ethically sourced. And for those that don't know, Arabica beans are known for their smoother taste profile with low bitterness, measured caffeine content, which is kinder on the gut and a higher antioxidant count. And for this week, we're offering free shipping for 1 kilo whole beans and ground coffee for both everyday and very grumpy. Use code Arabica, so it's spelled differently to how it sounds, but ARABICA. So Arab, to take advantage of this deal, guys. So free shipping, unbelievable stuff. Alrighty, now it is time for Service of the Week, proudly brought to you by Aspley, Mazda and Luke Camilleri. Give him a follow, LDC_01. Give him a message if you need a car. He's the best in the business. Deals with myself, Jai Apataya, Isaiah Katoa, Alex Glendraya, you name it. He's helping them out, the best in the biz. But it is Kieran Foran's kick to Dylan Brown to win the match yesterday. Unbelievable stuff. They called it the last ride for Kieran Foran. How good for him. Look, I'm not sure what will happen for the rest of the Pacific Champs, but just to see Kieran Foran have that last moment in the Kiwi jersey, and then Dylan Brown, you could argue, his protege to a degree, because he'll be there for the next 10 years or so, to score the match winner. It was so good to see, and what a pinpoint kick from Kieran Foran.
Yeah, it was a hell of a moment to end a brilliant test match between the two sides. But yeah, Kieran Foran, I mean, we had it last year with Sean Johnson. We had the farewell tour. Very similar energy this time around. He's a loved player, and nice to see him coming up with those moments in his last few games.
Oh, it's so good. But Dylan Brown, he was my man of the match. He was absolutely phenomenal. And he just kind of because it's been a quiet year for Dylan Brown, I think people forget, he is... talent is not an issue. Let's just put it that way. He's big, he's powerful, he's strong, he's fast, he's got good footwork, he's got soft hands. And then to go and do that, a catch like that to win the match, just a bit of a reminder, there's I know there's a lot of controversy around the 10-year deal, but there's a reason why he's so highly touted. He has every asset that you could want of a modern six, and to win the match that he did and also play the way he did, hopefully it's good signs for the Knights, mate.
Yeah, completely agree. He just felt like he got his hands on the ball a lot more yesterday than he had during the season with the Eels. He kept popping up. And when he's at his best, that's what he does. He gets around the action, he makes things happen, and obviously had the nice try as well at the end as part of the Service of the Week. But he just looked a lot more probably engaged and like he had something almost to prove a little bit playing for the Kiwis yesterday. So if he can keep that form up and take that up to the Knights, that's great news for them because they've got him for a long time. But I thought he was really good yesterday. One of his best performances I can probably remember this season.
And the big fella, I feel like this bloke has been fishing for about a month straight. I every time I message him, he's on a boat somewhere. But Lukey's joined us, mate. Did you get a chance to at least see the highlights from the game yesterday?
I did, mate. I did. And really impressive. Dylan Brown, I just think the presence that he holds, and he just, I don't know, it's just, he's a game changer. When he's always looking to do something. And I think when his hands are on the ball and, there's something happening. But yeah, it was good to see him get that try and that kick. It was just a ripper, actually. It was a ripper game. Great game.
And thoughts on because obviously you've been running a business for a very long time now, a successful business. Thoughts on the 10-year deal? Because it's that is truly business defining, a 10-year deal for, I think he's about 25 years old or so. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. And especially if he sticks to the contract. But I'm big about cornerstone. I'm big about kind of emerging leaders and people that are really set a foundation. So for me, I've got a leadership group that I rely on thoroughly, and you need to lean on them for the emerging to come through. So I'm a bit of a fan of it. It says a statement for the club, and it says, hang on, we've got a leader that's going to be here a long time to teach a lot of the people coming through. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, okay. So do you like the sureness of it? Basically, they're going, look, he is the cornerstone of the side for the next 10 years. There's no confusion about, what direction we're heading in. Let's head that way kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very clear. It's precise, and I guess it's a really transparent message sending out to the team and to people coming on. And I think, if you're looking to bring people to the club too, having someone like him on your roster that's going to be there for a long time, that you want to model your game off, I'd be there in a heartbeat,
Yeah, okay. And in regard to, do you try to look at things at glass half full rather than half empty? Because the half empty thing is we got this bloke for 10 years. What if he doesn't play well?
Yeah, no, I always look at the positive. There's going to be negatives there, but that's what you do. You coach him out of that, get the mindset right, and you think of the good rather than the bad. And I think, what he's shown, and especially with that sort of deal, there's going to be far more good than bad. And when the bad's there, I think you eradicate that pretty quick. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good point because, we focus so much on if Dylan Brown isn't playing good footy, but isn't that the administration's job to make sure he does play good footy? And I know it's not all on the administration, but, he's responsible for how he plays. But, a coach's job is literally to make you the best version of yourself. When we probably don't think. What are your thoughts, mate, on the deal?
Yeah, well, the headline on Fox Sports last night was, and I quote, "Kiwi lives up to $13 million hype Impact Champs thriller." So it's good to know he's officially lived up to it.
Yeah, it's done. It's over.
They can't hold that over his head for the next 10 years.
Put the feet up now.
It's like I've said though before. I'd rather be a fan of a team that rolls the dice, and I think particularly with Newcastle, you need to roll the dice. They've been stuck in a rut for so long now. it might go wrong. They might, finish in the lower half of the table for several years running if it doesn't go well. But it's sort of what they're doing now anyway, in many respects. So why not give it a go?
It is like, I know the negative, if it doesn't work, it's huge. Like, it's a 10-year deal, but like, surely they'd be able to negotiate their way out of that. It's not like, I think there are a lot of other clubs in 2 or 3 years, if Dylan Brown isn't going well there, that would be like, I can get the best out of Dill,
Yeah. Well, there's always ways to get out of contracts. You've seen that in the NRL. I mean, we've seen Lewis Dodd recently. They had him on a 3-year deal, and he was done in a year. So there will be ways out. For me, it just feels like a little bit of a punt. Like, if he can produce that week on week, no dramas. But he has had moments where he's probably been a little bit in and out of seasons, and he's a little bit quiet this year. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's basically a blank canvas for the Knights next year. New coach, Dill Brown coming. I'm sure there'll be a lot of other new players kind of coming through as well, or players that'll be moved on. So it'll be an interesting time. But if glass half full, if it goes well, he is the kind of guy who could probably, get a couple of other people to come and join the club.
And to be fair to the Knights, because I do believe it's a punt. I mean, I think we all agree it's a punt, but, just varying on how positive you are about it. I will say, like, we keep talking about if everything goes wrong, what will happen. But if it goes right, and in 8 years, they've got one of the best halves in the competition, or best sixes of the competition, for $1.2 million. That's a bargain. Like, that's an absolute bargain. So that's the service of the week, brought to you by Aspley, Mazda and Leaguie. Leaguie, what's going on at Aspley, Mazda at the moment, mate?
There's a fair bit going on, Denon. Like, it's this time of the year for us. We're coming, believe it or not, right to the end of the year. So it's a clearance plate already. So we're getting rid of all kind of 25 plates. There's a lot of bonuses on all cars, but there's a good activity. The amount of hype and energy, not that I'd apparently know because I'm always fishing, the energy in the dealership at the moment is something else. It's a place to be. So when you're there, it feels good. The customer's loving it. It's a good vibe because there's a lot going on, a lot of good stuff anyway. So really good.
And listen, I don't want to leave you on a sour note, but as a Broncos fan, I can't help but ask this question. When you saw Ben Hunt raise that trophy, as a Dragons man yourself, how did that make you feel?
I missed it, mate. I missed it. No, I was happy for him. I actually really was. I was really happy for him. So there's still a bit of Dragon in him, but no, take all that aside. What a bit of a fairy tale for him. So no, I'm a Dragon through and through, but to see Ben Hunt do that, it was a pretty special moment for him, I think. So, yeah, really good.
And, mate, you got some stuff with Livin. Is that you had some a video released recently with Livin. Is there something going on with Livin at the moment?
Yeah, I partnered with Livin. We've been doing a bit with them, for quite a few years, but we partnered earlier this year for a long term. So, getting amongst it, got a lot of activations going on. Just a fantastic organisation. Fantastic. The more I've been involved with, the better it is. So. Yep. Sending the message out there, getting it. It's a really good conversation starter. So, it's been a big thing for me. But, the dealership's got involved in it. And, we're loving the partnership.
Mate, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Denon.
All righty, it is time for the New Zealand versus Samoa review. New Zealand win 24-18. I tell you what, Samoa, look, he's my boy, Dean Marino. I love him to death. He was we probably don't win the grand final without him. We don't win some of those games in the final series, but that was the game, I reckon. I know they still had 7 minutes, and I know the Kiwis ended up scoring after that try, but I reckon they probably could have held them out because it was around the 7th minute mark it happened. Okay, so they get back at the kickoff about 6 minutes. It's not a definite thing, but so there was that, and I was like, okay, there's that moment. But then when Toto did it, I was like, okay, they're not meant to win this. So I know there was a lot of Samoan fans that were really, really quite frustrated, but I'm like, 24-18 against a red-hot Kiwi side, I think that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with both teams' performance. I thought Tarpane was phenomenal from the New Zealand side. Obviously Brown. Casey McLean. We'll get to it, but I think both sides, although disappointment with the win or with the loss, with Samoa, New Zealand, maybe you could argue fans a bit frustrated with the completion rate, but I think both sides can walk away from this pretty happy with the performance.
Yeah, well, I think an important thing to mention is that last time these two teams played, it was 50-0 to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Right, which was a terrible result for Samoa. But, it is a good sign in the direction that they've come, that really it was just poor execution that cost them the win in this game. There were a couple of moments, and they had a lot of ball on the New Zealand line and just basically failed to make it stick. But that'll happen in a new side with new combinations. I wouldn't beat myself up too much about it if I was him.
Absolutely. What do you reckon, Hammy? What was the performance?
Yeah, very exciting game for starters.
This
Pacific Championships, particularly the Kiwis, Samoa, and that series, and the leaps and bounds, the standard of those three teams has come along. It's going to be so exciting this year. The first time we've really kind of had a really evenly matched kind of end of year tournament. So PVL and all the Abdo and stuff who've put a lot of time into getting the standard up there for this. Like, they've done a fantastic job. But it was an exceptional game yesterday. Yes, Samoa had their chances, probably could have come away and won it, as you mentioned, with the knock-on at the end there. But super tight game, very close. We might see them play each other again in a couple of weeks in the final maybe. So, I'm sure it'll be another great game if that's the case.
I mean, I'm almost getting to the point where, like, I think that these three teams should always play in the Pac Champs. Like, and I don't know how you fix it, because we need to keep England engaged, because otherwise we don't want to lose footy in England. But, like, I just think it's wrong that they aren't always a part. And also, when Australia's not in it, granted, obviously the Kiwis can beat Australia, and Tonga have done it before as well. With Australia in the comp, you almost have, what at least one team in the grand final is going to be. Whereas with this coming into it, like, I genuinely was like, anyone could be in the grand final. Yeah. I like these three teams in the Pac Champs.
Yeah, this is a series in particular I've looked forward to for a long time because of the three teams that are getting involved with it.
Yep.
I think as well, we were saying before off air, Fiji, they're a side who in a couple of years' time will be at that level.
Yep.
So I think there does need to be some sort of reshuffle in the structure of it to keep it competitive, but get the best teams playing each other.
I wonder, like, if you played Australia once a year against England, could you build something there? Like, could you build quite a fierce rivalry potentially?
Why can't they involve England in this tournament and just rename it something? And why can't they have 5 teams in it instead of 3? I don't understand why.
Go too long, maybe?
Well, maybe, but like having a mad tournament, and then like we used to have the 4 nations.
Yeah.
Like, why England not involved in this? I know it's called the Pacific Championships, but they could change. It's established 3 years ago.
You know a lot about the international game.
Yeah, I don't have a specific answer for that, but what I will say is there is some insane politics at the top level of international rugby league that can often prevent these common sense things from happening. The Pacific Championships is an NRL thing, and often the IRL don't like the NRL going over the top of them and setting all this up. So that's probably the reason why, but it frustrates me to no end that these parties can't just put their differences aside and do what's best for the game.
It's frustrating as well, because it's like, we're never going to get anywhere if you don't come together. We'll always be fighting each other. Anyway, with that aside, in regards to the game, I thought the Kiwis started the game really well, and I definitely felt you could see that the Kiwis have had, like, not necessarily the same type of playing for generations, but like you could see that there'd been like systems passed on from player to player. Whereas Samoa, this is a relatively new group together when you actually look at like who's played for the side over many years, and like you might go, well, hang on a sec, there was like 10 new Kiwi players. However, like, the system has been there to pass on whatever it is with the Kiwis for quite a while, whereas Samoa, it really hasn't become on this level, like really the World Cup. But if you want to be super, super generous, you could say, 2020s, probably when they started to...
Yeah, it was a few years after the Tongan, Taane Milne and Fafita.
Yeah, so it's not long.
Yeah.
It's not long, because that was 2017, wasn't it?
Yep.
So, a couple of years after that. And so I, at the start, when they were completing well, I felt that you could really see that. They looked far more fluent, far more understanding of each other's roles. But as soon as they just got a bit of a sniff, Samoa, and it might have been the Nickel Klostad drop ball, they just seemed to, like, I don't know, click into gear. And by the end of the game, Taulagi and Leaguie were relatively dominant. Like, they were the ones creating, like, I know Brown scored off a try, but outside of that, it was Leaguie and Taulagi that were creating genuine opportunities that weren't necessarily bombs. So that's a good sign for Samoa, is that they've got more. It's more likely that they'll improve by a higher margin than New Zealand. Now, the question though is that, like, they can improve by more, but their best might be not as good as the Kiwis if they improve by a little bit. And so I definitely think you can see that at the start of the game. Look, we'll start with New Zealand, and then we'll get into Samoa. I mean, for me, it's the Casey McLean show. Like, the power to run through RTS and Junior Paulo. He's 19 years old still. To do something like that, to score 6 tries in essentially 1.5 games less than, like, we're talking, I truly believe we're looking at a generational outside back talent. And when I say generational, what I mean is like, you look at a 10-year period, and every 10-year period has, like, he was the man in his era. Like, I reckon it's going to be a battle between him and Critter for the next, 5 to 10 years. That's how good I think this kid is.
Yeah, well, it used to annoy me so much with the Melbourne Storm that Billy Slater would retire and Pappenhausen comes in. Yeah. Cronk going and Hughes comes in.
Yep.
Smith and Grant. This is actually the Penrith Panthers going, okay, Critter's gone. Let's bring in Critter 2.0. It's like getting a new iPhone where it's just a little bit skinnier but fundamentally does the same thing. That's Casey McLean.
Yeah, it's so true.
So, yeah, I mean, he's scored, 6 tries now across 2 games, across 2 different positions as well for New Zealand. It's insane.
True.
Yeah,
true.
Just having a look at it, obviously he's played 2 games, he's 19 years old. I I had a quick look at who scored the most international tries ever, like who were the top kind of three. So Mick Sullivan for Great Britain scored 41, Darren Lockyer 35, Ken Irvine 33. So those guys are all playing careers that are about, thereabouts 10 years, 8 years, 10 years or whatever. He could play for 14, 15 years.
He's already got 6.
He's already got 6 in 2 games. So if he plays, 30, 40 tests, maybe more, you never know. If he keeps going as he is, obviously he's probably not going to be able to sustain 3 tries a game, but you'd have to think he'd end up right up the top there of the pile.
Wow. And I think the one area, I reckon if you're genuinely comparing Critter to him, I reckon his top speed is definitely faster. Like he is explosive but I reckon Critter's probably a little bit more well-rounded into a softer hands, a bit better kicking game. But they just their ability to win moments. Like Critter's ability to win moments is almost second to none. He's had match-winning moments in nearly every jersey he's worn. And Casey McLean, if you go back to that prelim, I know he was offside, but that's been not called offside many times. When he made that intercept, that would have been a game sealer right then. And that's similar to what Critter used to do. I mean, we got a Rabbitohs man right here that remembers an intercept at Suncorp Stadium as well.
What intercept? I don't remember that.
But that's what, they're these moments that arrive that certain people will win. Critter wins them and Casey McLean wins them.
Well, Critter's won it. He won it for Samoa in the World Cup with that field goal.
Crazy.
Critter's done it. I was just going to say, obviously Critter's a much better player than Casey McLean is right now. But Casey McLean does remind me of Critter 2020.
Yeah.
He plays and looks not the exact same, but yeah, he's definitely on the same trajectory.
So exciting. And what's good about him is he gets through a ton of work too. He's not just sitting out there waiting for the big moments. So on the weekend, it's not obviously all about statistics, but obviously 2 tries. He had 13 runs for 125 metres. He had 7 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks, 5 tackles. Defensively, still needs a little bit of work defensively, and also he's passing. I know there's people that be critical about young centres that come in and they're not the best passers, but you've got to remember guys like Casey McLean, when they came in, every time they touched the ball, they scored. They didn't need to learn to do that because they were always scoring. And I know that's not a perfect world, but it's just a reality. It's very similar to Herbie Farnworth. At the start of his career at the Broncos, he really struggled to be able to tip onto his winger. Casey McLean, he will learn that skill.
Yeah, and we talk about the physicality of coming into first grade and playing against men. Look at that second try he scored, right? He's going over some of the most seasoned veterans in the game. The defense is a concern. 5 tackles made, 5 missed, but he's young. He's super young. He's got so much time to work on it. We talk, in comparisons about Critter. Critter is so good, but Casey's got time on his side.
Yeah.
So, the trajectory, he's on a crazy, crazy one.
It really is, at the moment, probably going to be a battle between him, Critter, and Herbie. In regards to consistency, because there's other centres that will have big years, and maybe they'll go on to continue having those big years. But right now, Critter and Herbie, you can guarantee are going to have at least an 8 out of 10 year. It's going to be interesting to see what pressure kind of McLean puts on them in regards to, and granted, he's still quite a substantial way away from those 2 players, but it's crazy to think that he's even in the conversation at 19 years old.
Well, as a Roosters fan, I can't stand for this Rob Toya erasure. He's in that conversation too, surely.
Yeah. Taylor May says hello as well.
You know what? Taylor May is unbelievable. Rob Toya, he doesn't get enough appreciation for. His defence is unbelievable. Yep. I'd argue, yes, Critter has these great big defensive plays, but in regards to young talent with good defence, he's probably the best I've seen in a few years. A 20-year-old already in first grade with some of the best defence in the competition. You very rarely see young stars come in with their defence as good as that.
We kept Latrell Mitchell trialist in State of Origin as a 20-year-old.
And you just got to watch the Roosters. If you watch the Roosters closely, the amount of good calls he makes in regards to his reads, he'll take the lead, he'll slide. Honestly, it happens all the time. And because it's defence, people don't really give it the raps. You can obviously speak more of it, but Toya's defence.
Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a Rob Toya segment. But Guru often says and points out that he spent so much time injured, right, coming through the grades. Yeah. Given that there's a lack of time spent on field, that decision making on field in the moment, right? That's not something you can really learn off field on paper. So his instincts are brilliant.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him also develop. I mean, we've got so many young stars coming through now. Geez, it's like you look at all the front rowers, you look at the outside backs. But Casey McLean, he was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'll leave the floor to you guys, but Tarpane, bro. The thing I like so much about these games for Taane is because he's down in Canberra. It's out of sight, out of mind. And granted, like, I think now most league fans are like, oh, yeah, okay, I know who Taane is. A couple of years ago, like, a lot of casual fans wouldn't mention Taane in top-tier front rowers. What I love about these games is Taane, it doesn't matter who he plays against, he will go after them. Like, if it's Payne Haas, if it's Fish, if it's whoever it is, Taane is always in that physical battle. I thought he was phenomenal yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, for much of his career, he was, as you say, outside of the spotlight. I think it's taken him being captain of the Raiders, then winning the minor premiership to get that recognition.
Yeah.
But I lived down there, and he's adored, absolutely loved by the Canberra Raiders fans. And you never see him not putting in the effort.
Yeah.
That's the key thing about him. He will go, as long as you need him to play, he will continuously put in 145 metres on the weekend against that Samoan forward pack, which in itself is very good. That's very impressive.
And a line break, just flying down the field.
He
Unbelievable.
was gazelle-like. No, it was unbelievable. Yeah, hell of a player, and built for like big games, like Test footy like this. I feel like we're going to see a lot of kind of like highlights and big performances from him through this Pacific Championships. He's just, he's class.
Like there's a lot of forwards that, you know, they don't necessarily talk a big game, but like almost the rugby league community puts on them that they're like an enforcer. Like he's the big dog, like he's going to get amongst it all the time. And they might get amongst it every now and then. Taane gets amongst it every game he can. Like we go back to Reece Walsh had torn them apart. So when he played last year against the Raiders, so Taane was just like, I'm just going to absolutely jam him while he's standing there. And I love that from Taane. He doesn't take a backwards. I mean, he's so Ricky Stewart. Like he could not be more of a front row Ricky Stewart.
Well, yeah, of all the top tier forwards, he definitely plays with his heart on his sleeve the most. He definitely plays with the most emotion. Yeah,
like he goes after, in any big game, he goes after the other big dog. Like I've never seen a game where he doesn't go after the other big dog.
To me, he's the second best front rower in the comp. I know he played lock on the weekend, but yeah, I know we're in a dearth of front rowers at the moment. We're in like literally the golden era of front row forwards in the NRL at the moment. For me, it goes Payne Haas and Joseph Taane.
Yeah, like I would have had Haas, Dally Taane, Dally this year.
Yep.
And then I would have had Terrell May behind Taane.
Yeah. Well, I think, unfortunately for him, just because of where he is, he will probably retire without a premiership. In terms of front row pairing, probably.
You're from
He's good luck going back to Canberra.
They won't let you in.
Statistically speaking. But I was going to ask the question, him and Josh Papali'i, right? When we talk about the great front row pairings, I think the premiership success will probably mean they don't get the recognition they deserve, but they're so iconic for the Canberra Raiders club. Where do they sit?
Yeah, in regards to like the impact of a pairing on a side, you're right. It's a huge impact Papali'i and Taane have. And like Ricky Stewart has made a point of making his forward pack the focus of his side. Look, I would have Papali'i in the greatest of all time Raiders side for sure. And I tell you what, I'd probably have Taane on the bench. I mean, he probably would. So you'd have what? Lazo, Papali'i maybe. I reckon Taane would make the bench.
Yeah,
I think he'd make the bench.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible. Like in a generation that hasn't won. We're talking about the Raiders here, who had a whole era of dominance. So it's a good point. I got to say that I understand. Like individually, you've got Haas, and individually you've got Webby or Petro or Brad Thorne. But like as a duo, and you saw it actually on the weekend, Leota and Fish, they are like two peas in a pod. They are so in sync. I'll tell you how in sync they are. They ran for exactly the same amount of meters. That is how specific their job is. Leota takes a hit up, Fish takes a hit up. Leota takes it, and they just dive, like they win the contact, dive straight to their front. So that they're never winning the statistical battle, but when you watch them play, the momentum that they generate, and matter of fact, there was like a set when Leota came back on for his second stint, he essentially by himself got them 80 metres. And what I mean, he took the first run, got a quick play the ball. Then Fish, because he got a quick play the ball, Fish was able to offload. He got it back to Leota. Leota offloaded again. And then they got down to about a 60-metre mark in the first set. Then they got the ball back to Leota, and that's when he threw that mad offload around the corner where they nearly scored off. Like their ability to work together as a front row pairing is it's second to none to me. I think they're the best pairing of all time.
Yeah, it warmed the heart seeing the Bash Bros together again. 1 year on. But I did want to bring up, you've got, with Kiwi front rowers, they obviously had Jesse Bromwich and Jadria Hargreaves together for quite a long time. That's a hell of a pairing, right? Massive boots to fill when those two were towards the end of their career.
Yeah.
You have these two come along and do it. All of a sudden, we've forgotten about Jared and J. Brom.
It's crazy. So, you're right.
In terms of legacies, it's insane.
And so Fish and Leota, 103 metres each. That's wild to me that they are so specific in their game plan that they ran for the same amount of meters.
They have a 73% win rate when they play together, which is just, and that's across everything, which is wild. I was going to say as well, Joseph Tapine has only played 21 games for the Raiders without Josh Papali'i. They played 195 games together.
Wow.
And that's more than Fish and Leota. Just a bit under Webke and Petro. But if they play another year this year, because Papali'i's staying, right?
Yeah.
They would have played 215 games together, which is ridiculous.
I tell you what, Ricky Stewart deserves such credit for his ability to like take a senior player and say, all right, your job is to mould the next senior player and, pass it on. Like Papali'i was the Tapine of his time, if you know what I mean. Yep. You could argue even more, like they got to a grand final off his back. But yeah, Tapine, like just what I like about Tapine is like there's not really one thing you can pinpoint and say he's the best at that, but he's so well-rounded, like he's got footwork, he's super aggressive, he wins he's just really well-rounded forward, whereas like Payne Hash, you might say he's got the best motor, Terrell May, you might say he's got the best offload, Adam Fnell-Blake, the best post-contact, you know what I'm saying, whereas Tapine is like a mixture of all of them.
Yeah. Well, and he's one of those guys where in the sheds, you look at him across the room and you know you're going to be okay if you're a young forward. And it's not necessarily, as you say, like the alpha dog who will, be all loud and all that, but his actions will speak and protect you on there. So.
That's a good point. Like you don't hear him talk about it, but if you actually watch him play, he's always trying to go at people. Tapine for me was absolutely phenomenal. We've already spoken about Brown in service of the week, but just look, I don't know whether it was a case of because early in the year he was playing 7 for the Eels. But also maybe it was just because his forward pack was getting dominated. Him with a forward pack winning the battle, there's not many better sixers in the game that you want the ball front foot going to other than Dill Brown. I just thought every time he got a quick lay of the ball, he was dangerous.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I think the game, as good as it was, his performance, I don't think it really showed us anything we didn't already know about him. He's shown this at the NRL level. I absolutely hope he can continue to reproduce it on a consistent basis, but I saw a lot of Newcastle fans rightly getting excited about that performance, but I am a little skeptical in the sense that he was still fundamentally playing next to a very structured half in Kieran Foran. Yeah. That guy doesn't exist in Newcastle. Dylan Brown might be asked to be that guy. Yeah. So I think the jury is still out, but all he can do is play the game that is in front of him. So he did very well.
You also made the point about behind a great forward pack, what can you haven't exactly got probably one of those up at Newcastle yet. Anyway, that's a bit of a watch as well. But yeah, he was great. Things just happened every time he had the ball and playing on the front foot. He was very exciting.
And what I liked about it is like he was great from the get-go. Like you could see it was the engaged Dylan Brown. Sometimes he has a tendency to be a bit cruisy. I'll sit back. From the first whistle, he was engaged in the game. He was making meters. He was threatening the line. I just thought he was outstanding. Look, to be honest, I thought the Kiwis pack was just phenomenal. Like I really thought that essentially every player did the job that they were brought in to do. The thing that killed the Kiwis and why they probably didn't want to buy a little bit more is their completion rate. Like there was a period there where I think in the second half, Samoa had like 20 play the balls on the Kiwis line compared to 0 for the Kiwis on Samoa line. And so that's something that they've got to fix up because it's not like the old days where you could go, we'll complete at 70%, but we'll win, it's fine. Like, we'll just chase them down towards the end. It's not like that anymore. It really isn't. Like if Marin takes that ball, I think we might be looking at a different result. So they've got to sort out that completion rate. Yeah,
100%. And there was a lot made about the battle of the forward packs coming into this, or I think they said 2 tons of muscle coming together between the two packs. And you're right, New Zealand did dominate the early physicality. I think the opening 10 minutes, they won almost all of the contact, and it did keep Samoa down their end. But it wasn't sustainable. And after the halftime break, Samoa absolutely came out firing, and they didn't have much of an answer for a lot of it. Samoa's execution is what cost them. But I think room to improve for the Kiwi forward pack, but God, great names, they can do it.
Now, they've just broken my heart because they've changed the bloody meterage from Fisher Harris and Leota, so they've just ruined my point.
I didn't want to bring it up.
So they've changed it to 96, 110. That just pisses me off. NRL, get your shit together. Making me look silly now. Yeah. At the end of the game anyway, guys, they were at exactly the same meterage. But anyway, 110 to 96 is relatively close anyway. I just think that the completion rate really did hurt them. But if that's your biggest issue, I'm pretty happy as a Kiwis fan. Like if we're complete, we are for the first 20 minutes, it looked like it was going to be a 13+ win for the Kiwis. So that's a relatively good sign as long as they can just make sure that the the errors. I'm trying to find out the errors now.
Well, you'd rather have it be an issue that's in your control, right?
Yeah.
And literally ball control is something that you can determine. So
Yep.
That's crazy. So when Samoa were dominant, they were at about an 85% completion rate, and the Kiwis were at 70%. By the end of the game, the Kiwis were at 79% and Samoa were at 77%. Granted, they were chasing a lead at the end. That's why they made all those errors. But it just shows you how, like, the swing really was attached to who was completing their sets. So, yeah, look, the Kiwis complete. They'll be fine. They looked smooth. They looked, gelling really well. They won the metre battle as well. So they won 1,700 compared to 1,600, roughly. They won the post-contact metres by 100 metres, which is a very interesting stat when you consider the size of both forward packs. Because, like, size-wise, I think Samoa was actually weighed more, at least their starting pack. Tackle breaks they won. They had look at their average set distance, 40.11 for Kiwis and 40.8 for Samoa. Oh. Wow. Kick return meters, Samoa won, understandably so, with RTS, Taulagi and To'o. Average play the ball speed, Samoa won compared to Kiwis, but only by a little bit. Offloads, Kiwi won. So look, I'm just excited. I'm excited that both teams are so close and both teams have improvement in them. Now, anyone else stand out for you guys in the Samoan side? The Kiwi side?
Matt Timoko. I need to give that man a shout out. One try, 198 run meters, which was more than any other Kiwi. But the one that stood out to me was 74 post-contact meters, which is a game high. You're up against Payne Haas playing 80 minutes, and Timoko beats him in the post-contact meters. As well as that, 19 tackles and 1 miss. So it's both sides of the ball where he really, really excelled. He's another guy, like we were saying with Tapani earlier, in Canberra, out of that spotlight.
Yeah.
We don't talk about him in terms of the premier centres in the game, but he's quickly improving in that trajectory, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, just another one of the forwards. I know you kind of had them together as a unit. They were all exceptional, but I thought Naf White, when he came on, didn't miss a beat. Kind of, it just felt like you were bringing another one of the big dogs straight through there. 13 runs, 124 metres, 57 post contact. I thought he's had a great year leading that Chooks pack, as you know, Dill. But I thought he was great in this game as well.
Yeah, with Timoko, it's just defence for him, I think. Like, sometimes that edge for Raiders can get picked apart a little bit. So if he just can because like ball running wise, he's outstanding. And like, for his height, he is so friggin' strong. A little bit like To'o in regards to deceptively strong. Now, granted, To'o's like one of the fucking most deceptively strong blokes in the history of mankind. But I agree with you, mate. And I definitely, what I liked about Timoko as a performance is like, and maybe I'm remembering on, but it definitely felt like in the second half he really ramped things up. And so when the game was on the line, he really was asking for the ball, is what you want. Anyone stand out for you, Matty?
Oh, mate, I think the benches was the difference in the end. Like, obviously the depth of the Kiwi side is a little bit better, so naturally that was always going to happen. But yeah, just having Naf White and Clark, and even like Nelson coming on, but especially those two. Like, every time Aaron Clark, I know he didn't have like the biggest impact.
It's like a pinball.
He just always finds his front, and
he's really good at like going into contact and sliding the right direction to like slide off it to a degree.
Yeah.
A little bit like when Jaden Campbell would kick return, or Kinney, when they kick return, they're really good at like making their body like angle in the right way to find the front. But yeah, Aaron Clark, once again, outstanding. Really good story. I forgot the name of the podcast. Maybe you can go to Aaron Clark's Instagram, but he was talking about, he has a really, really interesting story. Apologies, I'm forgetting it. We'll get Matty to go and have a look at it. But yeah, really cool story about a guy with all the talent in the world, but probably a poor attitude that really cost him. And I guess like we're all surprised that he's this good, but he always had it in him. He just hadn't committed correctly. Now, some negatives. I do think Kinney has to come into the side. I love Charnes's effort. He never stops. But obviously that drop ball from the bomb. And also, look, This one's a bit harsh, but look, he did throw the ball back in for them to score. I don't know what else he was supposed to do. Like, I guess you could argue he should make the catch, but it was going to be a 40-20, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to be too harsh. It's the other drop ball where I felt that he probably should have made. I just think Kinney, even without those errors, I think Kinney right now is probably a better fullback.
Yeah, on the one where he threw it back into the field, like, it is a bit of hindsight hero to say, in that situation, I would have done something different.
And look, you could be just as angry at the winger. Like, why weren't you running back to help him out? You were just jogging when you shouldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, look, it still happened, I guess.
Yeah. The thing is with Chance, I mean, I think he is what he is, right? He's never been the most X factor fullback. He's never been the guy that's going to generate you a heap of points. He'll just get through his work. Keaney is that X factor, and I think this Kiwi side is good enough to be able to facilitate an X factor guy at the back. 24 points in this game, it's good, but there could have been more. There were opportunities out there for the Kiwis that maybe Keanu would have iced. So.
Yeah, and as you just said, like there's never a game where Chance isn't literally leaving everything out in the field. I still think he's a bloody good fullback, and I like him at the Warriors. I think he really suits their system. I just think, like, when you go back and watch Kinney play for the Kiwis last year, granted, I know there was one half where he played really poorly, but outside of that, he was literally unstoppable. I think bringing Kinney in, we'll stay on fullback, and then there's another position I want to talk about as well. What do you reckon, Hammy?
About bringing Kinney in?
Yeah,
Look, I thought Chance was like solid enough. Obviously, had the ball that got thrown back in, copped a high shot as well, had to go off for an HIA as well. But I thought he was solid. But, Kinney's a hell of a player. And last year, he got nominated for Golden Boot, didn't he, when he played a couple of games there. He's had an injury-interrupted season. But at his best, probably going with Kinney. But maybe just the fact that Chance had basically a full season under his belt this year. And you know what you're going to get with him, really. He's a very consistent player. That's probably why he's got the nod at this stage. So I don't know if I'd be rushing to make a change, but... it can't be long before Kinney's probably got that number 1 jersey for himself for the Kiwis.
I was happy with them picking Chance purely because of pretty much every reason you just said. Kinney's he's barely played any footy. Chance has been there all year. I did say that on Friday though, and I do stand by this. If it's a grand final and I had to pick a team, I'd pick Kinney just because of what he can do. And I do believe that they should throw Kinney in the next game, and then if he plays the same or average, or if he plays average,
almost like a playoff, really.
Put Chance back in. If he kills it, Kinney in. I think Kinney should play the next game, but I was more than happy with Chance playing this game.
Yeah, I guess there is one thing as well with Chance. Like defensively, he is quite good, like strong. Got plenty of try savers as well. So there's that side of the game as well that we got to consider. I'd be similar to yourself, mate. I'd be bringing Kinney in next game, but it would be like a playoff.
Yep.
Like the jersey is Chance's right now, but if you play well enough, you've got to take it off him, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I will say another factor in Keanu Kinney's favour is that Kieran Foran is the halfback, right?
True.
Both Titans, you've got that combination. You think Foran would know how to get the best out of him.
Yep.
So, that should work in his favour.
Now, the other position, I think they got to bring Willison in for Nelson of Solomona. I think that, like, although when he did come on, he had some, decent moments and created a bit of momentum. I just think Willison can play more minutes. I just think right now, form-wise and everything, I'd be bringing Willison in. Well, boys, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's going to be emotional when Nas plays his last game of rugby league, potentially.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's such a cult hero. But it's a bit like I said with Chance. I don't know if Nelson showed us anything that different to what he normally does. He is a player who is a little bit rocks and diamonds at this point in his career, but I rate Willison so highly, and I think he is the future of the Kiwis forward pack. So why not bring him in? They're one game to the good. It doesn't matter too much if they don't pick up a win against Tonga, so roll the dice.
What do you reckon?
Willison, I mean, he finished the season with a wet sail. He was great in the final series and all that sort of thing. It's interesting. Nelson obviously fell out of favour at the Storm, and we haven't seen much of him this year, but, he does bring a bit of chaos when he's at his best, like, huge human being.
He's when he came on, he definitely did create some momentum.
That's what was, every time he kind of like took a hit up, you could almost feel the crowd sort of lift a little bit. But Willison did a little bit of that with the Broncos too. I don't know if I'd be rushing to make a change. I feel like when the next game they'll play will be against Tonga in a couple of weeks.
There'll probably be changes regardless because it is a game that they can afford to kind of drop, and so they want to give players match fitness.
Yeah, potentially. But I just think they'll have a big pack as well. Tonga and Nas is probably like a good ingredient to go toe-to-toe with some of those guys too.
Yeah, I didn't agree with not having Willison in, and I stand by that. I think we haven't seen much of Nelson this year. He's been a great player, but I think it's Willison's time, and I'd be bringing him next game for sure. Also, 2 Broke Usos, that was the podcast name.
2 Broke Usos.
Yep.
So shout out. Hopefully you get some money soon. Because I know what it's like. Not to be a broke user, but to be a broke person.
Talking about the restings, that will really depend on the results of this week's game between Tonga and Samoa.
True.
If Samoa lose, then yes, Kiwis can afford to rest, but if not,
I just quickly before we move on, I actually thought Crossan when he came on was really good.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good. He great in defence, but he was actually quite crafty around the ruck. Now, granted, I don't know what position he is because Adam O'Brien, who hates changing positions, seems to have him in a different position every single week. But I thought he was quite good at 9. I thought he was quite good.
Well, Jaden Brayley's gone now. That should hopefully make things a little bit clearer. up there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
Isn't he? I thought he's.
Well, no, we always joke about how at the Knights you don't know what position you're playing
Well,
each week.
probably more to your point, Adam O'Brien's now gone, so maybe that will.
Could well be the case.
Yeah.
What's the latest with Sandon? Because he was supposed to be a hooker, but now they think he might play in the halves.
Well, I think he was signed before Holbrook, I believe.
Well, they know each other, obviously.
Surely Holbrook would have had a say in that. Surely.
I think so, but Holbrook rates him as a half, apparently.
And they do have, I think it's Matt Arthur coming through the grades, who's an out-and-out 9, played under 19s, was at the Eels. I think he got concussed his first game. But so there's that. And then you look as well as like who's their out-and-out 13 at the moment. I think Adam Elliott's getting moved on, or was it potentially at some stage?
Got Mason Teague in there somewhere. He played 80 minutes, I think, for Cook Islands at hooker.
Yep.
So
and Phoenix Crossland actually does suit a bit of a 13. Anyway, we'll get into Knights chat when the Knights stuff's on. But yeah, I just thought he was good. Outside of that, yeah. All right, now on to Samoa. In regards to Samoa, I just like the. It didn't get spoken about, and I didn't think about it at the time. But how ironic that Talangi and Luai are playing together when Talangi's obviously the guy that didn't necessarily take his place. Like I don't think the Panthers were going, we're getting this guy in to be Luai, but it is, he's the number 6 jersey. I actually thought towards the end there, they were gelling really, like initially, it looked a bit clunky. And granted, Talangi at the best of times, you can see he's still learning, like feeling comfortable in the role. I thought towards the end, they looked pretty bloody potent.
Yeah, I mean, that will happen with any combination that's new. And I think it's true for the wider Samoan side that they work their way into the game. Fundamentally, though, when you're a side who has that many attacking chances and fail on the execution so many times, it does come down to the halves. That's where the spotlight is. I think play broke down a lot when they had attacking ball, but as I say, that'll happen the first time they're playing together. We'll see what they come up with against Tonga.
I think they did. They've had a couple of games together for Samoa last year against England, but still, it's only.
I mean, clunky for most of the game, but when the game was on the line, it was literally Luai's kick to Talangi, then he offloaded to Dean Mariner, and then the next one it was Luai's pass to Talangi, who then did a great pass to the centre, to Dean Mariner, who then passed to Toto. So like when the game was on the line, they clicked. So hopefully they can take that last 10 minutes or however many minutes and like bring it into the next game. But thoughts, mate?
Yeah. They definitely got busy as the game went on. They had their chance. Obviously, we've spoken about the Mariner knock on. But yeah, Luai, he's especially when he's in the number 7 jersey, which you saw a bit at the Tigers this year. Like he's not a classic number 7. He's a little bit different. Likes to come back in off his left foot and kind of likes to play some pretty almost like just eyes up footy. Really, not as structured as normal. So at times that can look a little bit clunky and chaotic and whatever. But once the Kiwis got a bit fatigue came into a little bit, those two they did find some unusual kind of angles and some little gaps and things like that as well. So there's some good signs there for them. It was interesting when the game was on the lineup. You can't put it all down to this play, but Jerome went for like a little dinky kick over the top on the last play, and he did that a couple of times this year for the Tigers as well. I don't know, sometimes those low percentage, high risk, high reward kind of players, I wonder whether they're the rein to pull in those moments, but they definitely had some moments there where they, basically tore them apart through the middle. So some good.
It's a matter of doing it for 80 minutes, I guess, going forward.
Right.
And it's a great sign for Samoa that like they didn't necessarily gel immediately and they were still in the game. So hopefully, as I said, they can take that last 10 minutes and just head into the next game because they could be half partners for quite a while, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say about game on the line, I know in the end they still lost it, but how about that conversion from the sideline?
Bro.
Unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure he's never kicked in the NRL before. I looked it up when a game was on yesterday.
Mate, I wrote on my notes, these young kids, pressure is not an issue for them. Like they are, like for all you want to talk negative about, these young guys are upstarts and they're all cocky and that. But this is the positive side of the next generation. Like, they might be different to the older generation. They put their head down and say, yes, sir, no, sir. But when the game's on the line, they don't give a shit. They'll say, give me the ball, I'm going to do it. And I think that for him to have the ice cold, and it's not even like he came off a game where he was killing it, so there was all this confidence. Like he was solid. He wasn't poor by any stretch. Nailing it at Mount Smart. I know you don't call it Mount Smart anymore, but I do. So I'm one of those old people that don't move on from the names that came up when they were in the generation.
I'm with you.
But yeah, you're right, mate. He absolutely nailed that kick. Absolutely nailed it. I just can't wait to see the end product of Blaze Talangi. Like, he's so raw. And look, maybe I'm wrong. Guru will probably know more than me, but it does seem like he hasn't played that much 6. Now, I could be wrong. In the junior grades, he did. He seems more like a natural fullback. But if he can just keep building slowly, like he's going to be a problem for defences. Outside of that, in regards to some other guys that played really well, listen, I always bring him up because he does not get anywhere near the love he should get. It's Murray Talangi. Like, bro, he's so friggin' good. He'll play Origin, and I promise you there are some NRL fans that would be like, oh, who's that on the wing? Like, that's how little appreciation this bloke gets. So on the weekend, like, I'm sure even maybe you guys didn't think that he was like one of the best players on the field. 20 runs, 171 metres, 41 post contact, 6 tackle breaks, 4 line breaks and offload. I just think he's so underrated. Like, he does this every single game. If he doesn't score a bunch of tries, he has at least 200 metres run. I just think Murray Talangi, okay, did he drop a high ball here or there? Or, okay. Was he perfect? No, but I just thought he was so good.
Well, he could have had 3 tries if the execution there was a little bit better, but there were tough ones for him to finish. He is an outstanding player. I've got a lot of mates that are Cowboys supporters who tell me all the time, you've got to talk about Talangi. He doesn't get the love. But he's genuinely an outstanding winger. And
so good.
It does frustrate me that every time Origin comes around and the Queensland side is picked, there's just no talk about him.
Yeah, there's none. And I'm guilty of it too. Like, if they go, pick your 17 for Queensland. And I'll get to the end and I'll be like, oh my God, I forgot about fucking Talangi. He's absolutely in.
I can think of I can think of a decent handful of Origin moments that Talangi's either saved a try, done something crazy, done something like hectic in the Maroons jersey. Then I just go look at Rugby League Project. He's only played 6 Origin games. Like,
crazy.
It feels like he's played more than that, even though he missed this year because he was injured.
Yeah.
But he should be first picked Queensland winger every year.
He's so good. He's so good. And I know he stepped out in that try. I get it. Like, he's not perfect. No one is. I just think he's so... 4 line breaks and 170 metres. Outstanding.
Yeah, he was great. I thought he was stiff to miss Origin this year as well, for what it's worth. I think when Game 3 rolled around, I would have had him on the wing there. But yeah, such a good player, right? He slips under the radar. It must just be the North Queensland factor, a little bit
like
off
Canberra.
the beat. Like Canberra, just a little bit out of sight, out of mind, unless you're really watching. They often get put on at those kind of funky times, but seriously good player. What a back 3 they've got at their disposal.
Oh
The
my
Samoans.
God,
that stands up. That could walk into any international side and not look out of place. Those names.
Well, I'm just trying to think. So their back 3, he ran for more metres than Tyro, and he had only 2 more runs.
And Tyro's literally changed the position in terms of running metres for a winger.
That's just crazy. Okay, so let's look at his stats this year. He averaged 177 metres this year.
Jesus.
Far out.
Not so long ago, an average of 100 metres for a winger was completely fine.
It's if you average 100 metres and score your tries, you're good.
Yeah.
Now it's anything less than 150 is you're not a top tier winger. He scored 12 tries, 11 tries, 9 tries, 17 tries, 10 tries. This is his last 5 years at the Cowboys. Just trying to... Line breaks, 19, 20, 18, 20, 11. So average is really good there. His meterage, 177 metres this year, 166 last year, 154 the year before, 140 year before that.
Well, to put it into context, Jacob Kiraz, who's obviously known for that as well, he averaged 178 metres this year. So it's relatively the same as Kiraz.
Yeah. And he's been doing it for I just think doesn't get enough appreciation, Talangi. In regards to some other performances for Samoa, we've already spoken about Payne Haas in the Kayo Can't Miss guys, so go check that out. But who stood out for you in this side?
I want to give some love to Francis Molo coming off the bench.
Off the back fence, Francis Molo.
134 metres. And, a lot of the talk was about Haas, as you say, and Terrell May, who I would have loved to have seen play. Molo was sort of the, forgotten man in those discussions, probably seen as a bit of the weaker link. But, geez, he did well. He ran for more metres than any other Samoan forward except for Haas. As we said, up against that Kiwi forward pack, that is an outstanding effort.
Yeah, and I just loved, he was truly back fencing it. He was catching the ball and just running directly straight. He actually, even at club, he has these moments where you're like, is he a really good front rower? And then he might be a bit quiet the next week. If he can just get some consistency, he just, for his pay packet, he'd be super highly rated. Adam Mariota, I hope, sending him well wishes. Geez, that did not look good. So hopefully he's all good because he's an outstanding player and I'm sure he's a great bloke too. So I just wanted to send our well wishes there. What about Harris Tavita coming on and nearly kicking a 40-20?
Yeah.
He's such a unique player, Harris Tavita. He doesn't really fit 7-6, but at the same time, he's not necessarily a utility. He's not a 9. But he just has this ability to make big plays happen.
Yeah, it is a tough one to find where he fits. And I will say, so they started Jazz Tavanga there at hooker. I guess the plan was to get Chanel on it just to play a bit of a bit part role coming through there at 9. But he had to do a lot more when Jazz went off with the HIA and responded, I think, really well to that challenge.
It's interesting because Benaya Uelu is an out-and-out number 9.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming because of experience they didn't probably start him potentially, or the size maybe?
I mean, I'm a biased Rooster, but I think when you have an out-and-out hooker who does start for the Sydney Roosters now, and instead you're going with Tavanga, who, I mean, is not really a noted 9 anymore, is a bit more of a 13. I was surprised they didn't opt to have Tavanga coming off the bench to counter the impact of Aaron Clark coming through, but they went the way they did. Now, I mean, they'll be forced into that change with the HIA having been failed by Tavanga, so maybe Benaya starts next week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Tavanga off the bench to like with that fast leg speed through the middle, especially when you consider how big the Samoan forward pack is, they probably need that speed. So I just think an out-and-out 9, even if they are defensively a little bit not as good as an out-and-out forward like Tavanga, it's just better. He's an out-and-out 9. The service is going to be better. Like, let's say they miss 2 more tackles than Tavanga. Surely that's worth the service you're going to get from an out-and-out 9.
Yeah, and if we're talking about execution being the issue for Samoa, get a serviceable 9. That just solves so many of those problems.
And you've got a spine that essentially hasn't played. Like, I know they played 1 or 2 games together, but essentially hasn't played together. You probably want a 9 that's going to nail his, job every single time. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do there. I think, I guess so. Tavanga, did you say he missed his HIA?
Yeah, failed the HIA.
He failed HIA. Okay, so he probably should be in there. What about Sasangi? Like, he can't not score a try if his life depended on it.
It's crazy.
Right place, right time, eh? Yeah.
Far out. Every
Kick chase,
time.
and him and I think him and Payne Haas were both leading that kick chase, and one of them was going to score.
I know we're going to have the November 1 show in a few weeks, but I think Chanel is an interesting November 1 guy. I think he's...
Yeah, because we're going to get to it with Luke Metcalf, because that's a bombshell for the Warriors, like a genuine bombshell with the Metcalf.
Well, they're both November 1, so
absolutely.
It's interesting how they're going to play that one.
Anyone else stand out for you guys? I think when I look at To'o's stats, I go, mate, this guy needs a break. Like, he needs a break.
Yeah.
I think, I honestly, and I'm being genuine, not even being facetious, I can't remember the last time he ran 120 metres, which is that's okay. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. But it's fine. To'o we're talking about.
Do you reckon he scores that try at the end if he catches it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I definitely think he scores that try. So, with the Samoan side, I think it's just about hoping, we're hoping that last 20 is an indication of a side that's gelling all right. And so, they go into next week feeling better. Any word on, was Tyran Wishart injury?
Yeah, so I heard a few different things about it. I'm not sure exactly what to believe.
Yeah.
I saw that there was a minor hamstring, I think was the main issue there. But then you had Taane Milne as well, who didn't play, and I heard some conspiracies about those two being linked, to maybe Terrell didn't want to play if Taane wasn't playing.
Oh.
But I don't know. I mean, pure speculation.
He didn't say he was going to throw his Samoa jersey in a bin on a Twitch stream?
No, he didn't say
Really?
that, fortunately.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, I'm sure he'd love to play for his country. So I'm not sure exactly what
absolutely.
it is, but hopefully we see him back again.
Yeah, I feel it was injury related, because a few Tigers pages were, reporting the news on it too, saying a bit of a late scratching. So hopefully he can get right for the last couple of games, because he's had a great year. Throw him into the mix as well. Could have been a different story.
Him coming off the bench, Jesus.
Well, I'd love to see him and Payne Haas in the front row, and I'd love Laurie Daly to sit and watch that game, because that's what we need for the Blues.
Yeah.
That's the blueprint.
I think as well, if I'd actually start Tyran Wishart and Payne, and I'd bring Josh Papali'i for 20 minutes of impact. I don't want him to, he's older now. I want him coming on for impact. And you can manage his minutes a little bit better if it's, you can see the game and go, okay, is the game, slowing down a little bit or whatever. But yeah, look, it's a good problem to have for Samoa. Outside of that, Sua's hit on Papali'i, holy.
Rugby league's about moments. That was a huge moment. I mean, if they win the game, that's the moment.
That's the moment. Yeah, that's the moment. And the thing with Sua, he's always been known as a hitman. Another guy that probably doesn't have the biggest profile, but even when he was coming through with the Broncos, he loved to shot. That would have been the game changer right there.
I'd say he's another man in a bit of the Talangi mold, where he has played Origin quite a lot, but you never really hear him in those conversations.
That's a good point. Because even this year he was in the mix, but a lot of people probably wouldn't have even had him in the mix, kind of thing. Because I remember he got a call back last year, and he probably struggled a little bit with the call up or whatever. But he went back to the Dragons, and he was really good. I think did last year he win the Player of the Year?
That does ring a bell. Would have been thereabouts, I reckon.
But he was really good for Dragons last year. Really, really good. Thoughts at Junior Bowler at 13 rather than front row?
Yeah, it's one where they've just got so many quality front rowers that you have to fit them in somewhere. Ideally, though, my favourite archetype of player is a ball-playing 13. I'd love to see a slightly smaller guy. If they had an Aaron Clark, for example, at that 13, I think that could also help them with their execution as well.
Is there a world where Tavanga can go to that 13 and then you can rotate? You can have Junior Butler coming on for Payne Haas with a 20-minute break or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the short term, I think that's something that they could do, provided they get far enough in the tournament. But I think Jas Tavanga signed for the Wakefield Trinity over in the Super League. And once you do go over there, you are a bit more out of mind. So this might be the last we see of him in a Samoan jersey. But it's only a problem that's going to get bigger because you've got like Spencer Leniu, right, who is a shoe into this side, but he's got surgery right now. So where do you fit all these guys in? I think you need a big man at lock.
There is like so many players that actually didn't play for Samoa that could have. And there's actually players with Samoan heritage that played in the Kiwi side. Like Dylan Brown, I think, has Samoan heritage. Leota obviously has Samoan heritage. Man, for such a small nation, it's actually ridiculous how talented they are. Like, it's insane.
Same with Tonga. It has a population of 100,000. Like, crazy. That is insane.
Yeah. So look, as I said, you can point to specific things in the Samoan performance and be disappointed, but like at the end of the day, as you mentioned, they lost like 50-0 or whatever, whenever it was, 24-18 playing New Zealand at home. Like, I think that's a relatively good result, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, if the pass from Talangi to Mariner sticks, we're having a fundamentally different discussion right now.
So I can't wait to see them next. So Kiwis play next week, Tonga?
Tonga, Samoa next week.
Oh,
at Suncorp. Probably another set out at Suncorp.
That is my favourite clash in rugby league.
Oh, man, it's going to be so good.
I love it.
Alrighty, we're going to wrap up at the review of Samoa and New Zealand, but I thought it was pretty happy for both fan bases. Alrighty, it is time for the Code Sports Story of the Week, and I told you guys, I said the finals promotion would end, and it has ended. So now it's back to use code BLOKE, and you'll get access to a special discounted annual subscription. So go to codesports.com.au/bloke, use your code to get your discount. But the great Readie's here. How you going, brother?
Hey, boys, how are we?
Very, very good. Thanks, mate. Nice. Now, you've got some PNG chat.
Yeah, I've just been over there on a trip with the NRL, investigated their, two of their facilities over there, what their plans are. I walked away pretty impressed, actually.
Okay.
I had some doubts before I went, but it's the first time I've ever been to PNG. I heard a lot of stories about it, but we felt really safe. And the options they've got for accommodation, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah, okay, because it really is like kind of like two questions. Like, will players be happy when they go over there? Yeah. Can they recruit players to make it competitive? And they kind of tied together to a degree.
Yeah. Well, I think the money means they'll recruit players because the money's so tax-free dollars. You're basically doubling your wages, right? So I think they'll get players. The question is what stage of their career they get players at. Now, I think it would be attractive to a young bloke coming through, chance to set yourself up for life, and probably a bloke at the end of his career who's looking for a payday. They're the obvious ones. So I think they know that. They know that there's only a certain type of player they're going to be able to recruit to PNG just because of the circumstances over there and the fact you'll be living basically in a compound's not the right word because compound makes it seem like you're locked up. Right? It's more like a village, accommodation. So I think that caters for a certain type of footballer. I don't think it caters for everyone, but I think they know that and they're going to target guys who they think they can get. And the tax-free dollars, that makes it very attractive.
Yeah, okay.
When you talk about some of this accommodation and the facilities they'd be staying in, you say you're very impressed. Like what are we talking? Is it like basically big resorts or what's
big resorts?
Yeah.
So we toured 3 different options they've got. There's a favourite, which is Airways Hotel over there, which is big resort. It's got apartments. It's not just units. It's a three-bedroom apartments, relatively modern. Restaurants, got its own medical clinic, got a school attached to it.
Wow.
It's got a 286 security cameras around the resort. It's got its own guard force. It's got its own car service, so 100 cars or something at its disposal. And it has its own island. So attached to this resort is an island about 20 minutes offshore, right? You get a boat. We went to the island.
Yep.
And if you stay in the resort, So if the players stay in that resort, if that's the resort they go with, they get half price access to this 5-star island.
No way.
So you know, if they're feeling a bit claustrophobic, just jump on a boat, 20 minutes, you're on an island, a bit like Hamilton Island or Magnetic Island, a bit smaller, but beautiful overwater bungalows and stuff. So that's probably the number one choice at the moment. But there were a couple of others we looked at. Look, the Marriott's got it's in the middle of the CBD on the harbour. And there's a whole lot of land there that they've got that they can access that the Marriott or potentially wants to own down the track, where they might extend the resort out, and that'd be a really good place if when that's done. But at the moment, I think that Airways is the most logical option because it's got the facilities are all there. You don't need to really leave the resort.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
And in regards to so there's tax-free dollars, but is living paid for, or it's the only benefit will be your pay slip, it'll be tax-free, or will it be, no, you also get free accommodation, you get...
Yep. So you don't get free accommodation, you've got to pay rent.
Okay.
And rent in Port Moresby's off the charts, right? It's exorbitant. It's compared to Sydney. What they will do is there'll be a trust fund set up with government dollars, and that will offset your rent so that your rent is equitable to what it would be in Sydney. So you won't have to pay the exorbitant rates there are in Port Moresby.
Yep.
You'll pay a fair amount of rent, but you've got to pay rent because otherwise it's a salary cap rule.
So is it really expensive because of what currency do they use over there?
Oh, it's called is it a kina or something?
Is it really expensive because the kina is not strong, or is it genuinely expensive even if you went over there with dollars? Do you know what I mean?
No, I think it's just expensive to rent there.
Yeah, interesting.
Maybe, particularly in the 5-star accommodation, I imagine, because there's not that much of it, right?
Yep.
So you're limited in what you can access. But that will be offset by that trust fund, so that won't be an issue.
What about like cost of living? Because you're going to get paid, let's just say $1 million, but it's AUD, but obviously it'll get transferred into the kini or whatever it is.
I wish I could tell you what the cost of living was, but I didn't pay for anything. So I don't know what it costs.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Because going out and having a feed, is it here it's $100
bucks. I did buy a round of beers, actually. I wish I could remember what it cost me. I can't remember. Do you want me to look it up on my phone very quickly?
That's good.
Yeah. I don't think it's over. I don't think it's off the charts.
Yeah, okay.
From memory, actually, we went to a shopping centre. And I remember looking at, there was some electronic stuff there. And I don't remember thinking, I did the conversion, and I don't remember thinking this is exorbitant. It seemed reasonably priced.
Okay. Do you have a question?
Yeah, just generally speaking, so you said you toured the facilities.
Yeah.
The stadium there, it holds just under 15,000. That's a little bit of a concern for me if they're committed to 10 years over there. Are they doing anything with that?
Yeah, there are plans on foot to expand the stadium. And obviously there's a centre of excellence getting built right beside that stadium. It's going to be state-of-the-art, have a synthetic field because it gets quite hot over there. So it'll have an indoor synthetic field that they can roll out, one of those ones they can bring it in and out of the building. And it'll have accommodation because over there one of the real challenges they have is moving around the country because there's not really roads.
Yeah, okay.
There's roads, but they're limited. So... There's 22 provinces over there, and to move between provinces, like if you want to go from Sydney to Newcastle, you drive.
Yep.
If you want to go for the equivalent distance over there, you have to take a plane.
Wow. Okay.
So that's one of the issues they're going to have particularly with young players coming through their pathways. So they're going to have accommodation, that centre of excellence, maybe to house the elite youngsters over there who come from districts that are too far to get to Port Moresby.
So in regards to the vision from the NRL, I've always looked at New Zealand, and this is just my opinion, it's not anyone else's, and I always said, listen, in a perfect world, New Zealand Warriors are essentially fielding the Kiwi side. Is that the end goal for the NRL of hopefully it's mostly PNG players playing for it eventually and maybe one or two recruits being brought in?
I reckon the dream would be they're all PNG players because the numbers of kids playing over there are off the charts, ridiculous, right? The problem they have is from the age of 6 to 13, there's no organised, or there was no organised competition for them. So their development's so far behind Australian kids. So they started now, the academies are from, I think it's 13 to 17, right? They're now doing training twice a week for 22 weeks a year. But still that leaves the gulf between, they call it the development gulf, right? Between an Australian player and a PNG kid is exorbitant. It's the golf's massive. So that's what they're trying to close. But there's just so many kids over there playing footy. Like, they love it. The other issue they have is grounds. Like, they don't have a lot of grounds. So they were telling us that when they first got there, some games were limited to 15 minutes because they had to fit all the games in. There's still not enough grounds for them.
No way.
So this is the challenge they're facing.
Okay.
But they're slowly getting on top of that. Joey Grimer's over there, been over there for a couple of years now, and I think he's making real headway over there with the development and the pathways. Once they get them right, it'll just be a production line over there. Well, that's the dream, and there's no reason it can't be like that.
Yeah, okay.
As I said, there's just so many kids who want to play football over there. It's a national sport, and they love it.
And this might be a really silly question in regards because it's their national sport, but have they found much resistance there? Because I'm sure, without getting political, I'm sure there are people in PNG that would have, let's go with the other side that's, trying to invest in PNG. Have they found much political pushback at all? Or?
No, well, the Prime Minister he's as on board with this as anyone. We caught up with him a couple of times, had dinner with him. He loves rugby league. His brother played for the PNG Kumals. So no, I think to me it's that the country it's just so in love with rugby league.
Yeah.
And the idea of getting their own team, it just won everyone over.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and obviously there's what's tied in with this is that they're using rugby league as a vehicle for change over there as well, because you cannot play unless you go to school. So one of the issues they had was kids weren't going to school. Yeah. So now if you want to play rugby league, you want to be part of the academy system, play rugby league, you've got to go to school, and they do regular checks on that. Yep. So it's the dream is that not only do they produce good footballers, but rugby league helps the country with education and particularly around some of the areas where they have trouble with violence against women, drinking, that sort of stuff, right? So rugby league's being used to change that as well. So I can only see they can only see positives out of it.
And in regards to who's the unsung hero of putting this together, obviously, the administration, we're incredibly grateful as footy fans, but is there an unsung hero that's just been working tirelessly for the last decade?
Well, I mentioned Joey Grimer. He's over there at the moment. Joey's involved with Pathways over there. Tony Archer, the former referee, is over there as well. Those guys have done immense work over there. Obviously, Andrew Hill was heavily involved in this before he went and joined Panthers now. And the PM's the other guy, the PM, James Marape, as I said, he just loves it. Yeah, okay. And he's probably been the driving force behind it more than anyone else. But, the work Joey Grimer's done over there, when you consider what he's had to, the challenges he's had to overcome, the other issue they have over there is because the country's so spread out and they've set up academies in 22 different provinces now, and you've got to get everywhere by plane, basically. The other issue they have is phone service is intermittent. You lose phone service. Not a lot of people have email. So when they give these kids when these kids get selected for the academy, they've got to fly out and hand deliver letters to them all.
No
they can't email them because there's a chance they won't get the emails. They can't ring them because their phones quite often they haven't paid up their phone service, or they haven't got service. So they have to fly out, hand deliver these letters to 720 kids. So these are the sort of challenges they're overcoming. And Joey and Tony Archer are the guys sort of overcoming these monstrous hurdles.
There'd be some crazy stories about delivering a letter, surely. A movie made about some letter that was delivered to the next big thing, surely. But
Joey's I don't know if you know Joey Grimer. He's been involved in the game a long time, Joey. But he's one of those guys everyone just loves him, right? He goes around. The PM calls him Boss Man. Because, all these other nicknames, Lick, because Lick in PNG is short, small. And Joey's really short, right? So he gets called Lick or Boss Man. But he travels everywhere. He's got gear on him because gear's your passport over there. If you've got rugby league gear, opens doors everywhere, right? Because they just love it so much. So those two guys, him and Archer, are probably the unsung heroes over there.
Far out. And in regards to this is a tough question, but I'll gun to head. This is a gun to head question. Who's going to be more successful, the Perth Bears or the PNG Chiefs?
Are you talking short or long term? I think
next decade.
PNG will be more successful, I reckon.
Okay.
Just because they've got so many kids coming through. I think Perth's going to be Perth's probably an easier sell for a player here to go over and live over there because beautiful city. It's similar distance actually to get from Perth as it is to get to PNG, but I think in the short term maybe they'll have more success signing players. But in the long term, I reckon PNG is going to be more of a success just because of the amount of kids playing the game. And that you can't underestimate tax-free. I mean, Denon, you play the game, man.
Oh, mate.
Tax-free dollars, right?
With your manager as well, like you get smashed. You just
Denon
get
doesn't
smashed.
pay tax anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Oh,
Can you
wow.
imagine you're 28, 29,
Oh,
10
mate.
career, and
It's
someone says to you, mate, come and play for us. We'll give you 400 grand, it's all tax-free. Like that. You do that for 2-3 years.
yeah. Especially a lot of these kids are from blue collar areas. Like you say to them, you're going to have 200 grand in your, or 400 grand in your bank account at the end of the year or whatever. Obviously, you've got cost of living and that. Yeah, it's. I think another one that, and I'm sure someone's probably spoken about this, so I'm not saying I'm the first one to speak about it. But I'd imagine the businesses. Yes, it is a third world country, obviously, but there's still people with money over there.
Oh, man, there's a
I
lot
can
of money.
imagine that the third party deals are going to be pretty aggressive.
Well, obviously their dream scenario for PNG would be to sign Ivan, Nathan, and Jet Cleary. That'd be that's their dream.
Yep.
Because they're all off contract. Well, Nathan and Ivan both have contract at the end of 27. So it lines up with 2028 when they come in the comp. If they manage to pull that off and sign those blokes, the endorsement deals they would get would be insane, because that's one of the great contrasts of that country. You've got massive multinational companies over there. You've obviously got areas of poverty. Well, not poverty's harsh, but of areas where there's not a lot of money. But you've also got these multinational companies who, again, they know rugby league sells them to the country because rugby league's so big over there.
So true.
So if you get Nathan and Ivan over there, mate, they would make so much money in third party.
And he's your face of the company to appeal to the rest of the country.
Kill it. So not only would they get $2 million tax free,
Yeah.
$4 million, but they'd get huge amounts of money in endorsements.
Wow.
So, I mean, they've just got to get in their ear and try and convince them not to extend Waldworth.
Well, Bulldog Richie reckons he's going to settle down there with Mary, doesn't he? Anyway, So
Well, mate,
watch his
he's
space.
stalking poor old Mary.
Oh, mate, Reedy, thanks so much for joining us. And you've got an Instagram as well that people can catch you on?
Read his mail, man.
There you go, read his mail, give him a follow. I tell
Slide
you
in
what,
those DMs, people.
mate, slide in those DMs. Yeah, absolutely. Who's your team, Reedy?
I'm a Broncos man.
Oh, yeah, we spoke about this the other week.
Game.
Yeah, we spoke about this the other week.
First game in '88.
Yeah,
Surrounded
okay.
by them.
You're Roosters, man, and Tigers, man.
Go Tigers.
Condolences. Oh, man.
Oh,
They're
come
coming
on,
good,
Reedy.
man. They turned the corner.
Yeah, we have.
Good.
Top 16 this year. Look out, world.
Mate, they're on the up. They're on the up.
Mate, thanks so much for joining us.
No
Really,
worries.
really do appreciate it. That's the Code Sports story of the week, brought to you by Code Sports. Codesports.com.au/bloke. Use code bloke for your discounts. And thanks, really appreciate it, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Alrighty, we're going to get through the big news over the last couple of weeks. Then we'll just have a quick review of the Fiji Cook Islands games. But some of the biggest news, arguably, of the year. So there's talk. It's so vague. There's it's definitely true. Then there's other people saying, no, it's absolutely not. But anyway, there's talks that Craig Bellamy may end up at the Titans. It's believed that he wants to live in southeast Queensland near his extended family, which is, I think people have been aware of that for a while. According to Code Sports, the Titans are expected to be informed in the coming days if Bellamy will join the club either as a head coach or in an advisory role. But that's not the juicy part of this. The juicy part is allegedly, reportedly, there is a clause in Hane's contract that says if they sign Bellamy, he will go back to an assistant coach. That has not been confirmed, but there are a lot of people reporting it as if it is fact. This is huge for multiple reasons. Josh Hannay was the next in line as the gun coach. He was the Serraldo of this couple of years of he's the man, he's going to, they land Hannay. I think it's insane that they've landed Hannay, and if it is true they've put this clause in, I think it's insane for him to agree to it because he could have got his probably gig it up multiple other clubs. But B, I understand the Titans, it's Craig Bellamy. I get all that. It's Bellamy, he's almost guaranteed success, but you're almost second guessing yourself with that. You're almost saying, hopefully Hannay works out, but really, whereas what I don't get, have strong leadership, go all in on Hannay. And what's so bizarre about it with me as well is you've got that clause. Are you telling me right now, if Hannay had a terrible first 2 years and Bellamy came on the market and they went to Hannay and said, mate, it's been rough, Bellyache's interested, we're going to bring him to the club, you reckon Hannay's going to be like, nah, I'm not leaving? I'm sure he would either choose to work under Bellamy or be able to, work something out. So I think if it is true, it's a bizarre setup, mate. I'd love to get your thoughts still.
Yeah, it's rough for Josh Hannay, for sure. I mean, as you say, he's a guy who's come through, he's earned his stripes. I feel he's earned this position at the Titans. But, God, for so many years, we've been saying that the problem at the Titans is like a lack of clear vision as to what they're doing. If this clause is in there...
It's exactly that.
Even the coach, yeah, exactly. So what they need up there is a clear plan.
Yeah.
And this, if true, seems to be the exact opposite of that.
You're right, and that's been such a problem for them. Like this, they had Holbrook there. He was going pretty well, and they made this ruthless call and brought Desi in, and then that hasn't worked out. And now they've got the best young gun coach where everyone celebrated like, wow. Honestly, every footy fan thought Titans had the least chance of landing Hannay. They land him, and now they're dealing with this. It's like they need strong leadership to go, no, Hannay's our man. Look, if Bellamy comes on the market, we'll deal with it then. And look, maybe even if Bellamy's saying to them, I might be available, so, have strong enough leadership to go, okay, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Hannay's our man. I believe in him 100%. You're already setting Hannay up for, I wouldn't say failure because that's dramatic, but like, it's not a good start. The players have read these articles. It sounds like weak leadership to me. Like, it sounds like you're basically going, fingers crossed, Bellamy fixes all our problems. That's basically what it seems like to me.
Yeah, and I understand that Bellamy is Bellamy, but this is before a ball's been kicked in Hannay's tenure, and we're already talking about this.
Crazy.
Right? You would have thought that the end of the coaching circus with Des Hasler and all that would provide a little bit of stability, and here we are. So,
mate, it's absolutely bizarre. I'd love to get your thoughts, Hammy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Josh Hannay, you probably had your pick of a couple of different clubs, and you kind of weighed a lot of things. That obviously the Knights became available. There's a bit of chat about the cow, all this sort of stuff. And he's gone, no, I'm going to go with the Titans. Going to give them my full attention. And then a month later, this sort of thing has kind of crept out. You'd be fuming, I reckon. Like, honestly, you've made the call to go to that club and put all your energy into them, and you finally got your shot. You've been the next cab off the rank for quite a while, and already there's like, maybe it's actually not you long term. Maybe it's just for a year or so, keeping the seat warm until Craig Bellamy gets here. You'd be a bit pissed off, I reckon, if I was him. So I feel for him. How does something like that get out? Like, I mean, honestly,
mate, I'd be ropeable if I was Hannay. Even if he did agree with it.
Yeah.
The fact that it got out.
Yeah. It's not great, but it's like some of these clubs, my club has had issues with it in the past, like little things like this getting out, just destabilising and constantly distracting. It can happen, and it's obviously that's what's happened here.
And like what I don't get, and look, apologies if this is all just a beat up, but come out and clear the air. Like, come out and make a strong statement. Guys, this is exactly what's happening, because the more room you leave for us to speculate, the crazier the stories get.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think it's good leadership. I'd love to get your thoughts, Matty.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Hannay would agree to it. And then if he did agree to it, which I'm not sure he would, because like now he just looks bad.
Yeah.
He just looks like I don't know what
He looks weak. He looks weak.
It looks weak. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, it does look a bit weak. And you're right. He did seem to have his pick of all the clubs. So that's why I'm struggling to really make sense of this. Because why would you leave yourself open for this? Because it's not like you're going to a club that's good, to be honest.
You're going to a desperate club.
You're going to a desperate club, so why would you give them these chips? It makes no sense to me.
And again, if it's not true, wouldn't you immediately release a statement saying this is not true?
Especially because if I'm Hannay and it's not true, I'm on the phone to the CEO saying, clear this up now, because I look weak, I look bad in this situation, which he kind of does.
Mate, I think it's a disaster. I think what I cannot believe with the Gold Coast Titans is they finally, the Frizzels have purchased majority shares, so they've got a powerful leader that can go, this is what's happening, they've got a direction happening, and the first decision they make is the most one foot in one foot in the other decision I've ever seen in my life. Like, back yourselves in. Like, it really does reek of, please, Bellamy, fix us.
Yeah.
That's what it reeks of.
And I know Titans fans must be sick of us always linking Tino to this, but Tino is such a brilliant, clear leader at that joint. You look at the way that he talks to the playing group. I remember when David Fafita signed with the Roosters initially, Tino was saying we had promised that we would stay at the Titans to win a premiership together. That's the leadership he brings. He's there now, and this is all still going on at the top. I mean, I've heard you say for a few weeks, like, go seek success.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, right now, before this all happened, the one thing he was asking of the Titans was clarity.
Yeah.
Then he did an interview and he says, yep, I've got some clarity on the direction. The ironic thing is that, like, if there's one coach where he'd be like, okay, if Bellamy comes, I'll stay, it's Bellamy. Like, if it was another coach, he'd be like, I'm out of here because this is too messy. But I cannot believe it. It is honestly mind-blowing that, like, look, I don't know why Taane agreed to it if he did, but if he did, the fact that this got out is disgraceful. Like, it is, you are the one, like, I'm trying to think of another thing that could what's worse for a head coach that he doesn't do to himself for a starting role than literally basically saying he's second choice. Like,
that's the figurehead of your club.
Yeah, like he's supposed to be the most powerful man at the club.
And he hasn't even technically started yet.
Hasn't even started yet. And what's crazy is like Bellyache hasn't, you know, what's even weaker about it all, it's not even like Bellyache said, I am coming. They've done this on he might be available.
Yeah.
Like there would be like a 1% of me that would cop it if it's like, no, we have an agreement. Bellamy will be here in 2028. I'd be like, okay, it's Craig Bellamy. Like, I don't like it, but okay, everyone's aware of the program. He could literally turn around and just go, like, it's not even close to being agreed to yet. It's literally, hopefully.
Well, my gut feeling says no at this point.
He's done this heaps of times, Bellyache.
Yep.
The only difference is he is getting older and his family is on the Gold Coast. It's bizarre. The whole thing is so bizarre. Even if it is true that this clause is in there, they need to make a statement to clear it up. They owe it to their fans. There's not many of them.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that as disrespectful. I'm saying you got to fight for everyone you got. And this is how this vagueness is what you're throwing at them after you just sacked a coach and their star player has got a clause in his contract to bounce. It's mate, honestly, mind-blowing that this could happen. It's bizarre. So, like, only on the Gold Coast, maybe the Tigers, no offense, could this happen.
Understood, yeah. Not these days.
Curious to know your thoughts on the Bellamy side of things, though, in terms of his motivations, because I understand his family is up there. You often talk about comparing Bellamy to Wayne and the fact that Wayne has done it at multiple clubs. If that's the ambition for Craig Bellamy, I don't know if the Titans would be my solution to that problem.
Yeah, look, if Bellyache took the Titans to a premierships, it's GOAT status immediately.
It would, but in all likelihood that won't happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Could that tarnish his legacy? Could it go the other way if that happens? In which case, does he really need to do it?
Well, I think he just loves rugby league. Like, I think he genuinely, because like high performers like him, they don't want to stop working because they love it. Like, he wouldn't do what he did if he didn't love it. And so I wonder whether he's like, listen, I'm retiring on the Gold Coast, but I don't want to fully retire because, like, I love what I do. Maybe I give it a crack or two whilst earning $2 million a year on the Gold Coast, which can't hurt. I can pass it down to my kids, maybe that's the case. But you're right. Like, does he have enough time to rebuild? Because he would have to literally build a roster from zero. The only other thing I can think is he's in the advisory role. But again, if that was the case, come out and friggin' say it. Because if the Titans came out tomorrow and said, guys, the clause isn't about being a coach, it's about being a manager for Taane to help him there, everyone would go, that's great. That's awesome. I think that's a really good thing. But they haven't said that. So it suggests to me that there's still an opportunity where it's coaching. But I agree with you, mate. Like, does he have enough time to do what he would want to do, which would be win a premiership? Maybe it's more a case of he wants to set a foundation for someone else to win a comp. Or I know his son is a part of the coaching staff. Could it be he wants to set the club up for his son to take to a premiership potentially? But it's definitely, out of all the clubs to go to, it's one of the toughest uphill climbs in the NRL. Yeah. So very, very strange. I feel sorry for Taane in two departments. If he did agree to it, I feel sorry for him. If it's not true, but it's getting out there that it is true, that also feels sorry for him. I hope the Titans owe it to Taane to come out and clear this up. They really do. It shouldn't be. Taane should not answer a question publicly until this is cleared up, in my opinion, because guess what's going to be the first question at his first press conference? It's going to be that. Yeah. And he shouldn't have to answer it. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. So, look, I know Scotty Sattler has just arrived at the club, one of the smartest men in rugby league, a fantastic bloke. I've got faith that he'll be able to handle this situation correctly. He arrived, I think, only a couple of months ago, so not very, very new to the club. Hopefully he can head him in the right direction. Okay, some big news. Luke Metcalf and also Harris Davida reportedly are going to test their value on the open market. I have to be honest, this really shocked me because, Metcalf, he was the key to when the Warriors were playing really well. He probably is the short-term key to them having success over the next couple of years. Also, on the other side of it, the Warriors did take a chance with him. He had a lot of injuries. He struggled to really put a lot of games together. I am quite surprised on this. The only thing it would suggest to me is that maybe Metcalf is on a minimum contract because that would match up with the chance they kind of took on him. But I am surprised in the sense that the Warriors, like, I would be surprised if the Warriors offered him so little that he needs to go to open market. So it doesn't sit that well with me, to be honest, that that Metcalf is willing to go to open market unless the Warriors are truly trying to lowball him.
Yeah, well, it's going to fascinate me to see exactly what his value on the open market is, because obviously his form was incredible to start the season, but he does have a long documented injury history. He's coming off an ACL.
It's essentially 14 good games.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to get to. That was a very good run of form, but I think it's a sign of sort of the market's desperation when it comes to halfbacks that there is this much supposed interest in a guy who has put together half of a good season, but the fact is, it was a very good half of the season. It's an annoying trend for Warriors fans when these Aussie players come over. We saw it with Reece Walsh. They do eventually tend to end up losing them.
Yep.
But I hope he stays. I really hope he stays.
And that's what's so surprising is, like, surely the Warriors aren't fully, like, crazy lowballing him. Like, their salary cap doesn't seem like it's that out of whack. Like, the players they lost last year, surely they got the money to be able to go, here's 600K, here's 700K.
Well, he's on 550 now, apparently.
He's on 550?
According to this Fox report.
But yeah, you're right. The money can't be locked up elsewhere because Chance wouldn't be on heaps at fullback.
No, he just re-signed on a lower deal.
The 5/8 jersey there is a bit of a sort of rotation thing. And then Wade Egan isn't going to be, on heaps either. So,
well, let's think about it. What if you're the Dragons, for example, what would you throw at Luke Metcalf?
Again, with his injury history and the fact that it's half a good year of footy, like, honestly, 550 to 600 sounds fair. Like, and maybe my brain is used to, like, the old, amounts. But, like, I think 600K is fair for where he's at right now. Now, granted, it would have to be a 3-year deal, 600, 700, maybe 800. But I think 600, 700 is very fair for a guy that hasn't... Like, when was the last time he played a full season without any injuries?
I can't name one.
Yeah.
So that's what's blown my mind about that 550K reportedly. Like, I struggle to believe that because... There's no way I'm going to the open market. If they gave him a 550K contract when he hadn't played essentially any NRL for any prolonged period of time and he had injuries, my assumption would be that the contract they're currently offering him is worth about 650, 700 because they'd obviously go up by a little bit. Very strange. Like there's something that's not adding up here. There's something that's not outside of the one key factor could be exactly what you're kind of alluding to. Maybe he misses home.
Yeah.
Maybe he misses home. What do you reckon, Hammy?
Yeah. Well, look, I'd probably be prepared to pay him a little bit more. I know he's had a lot of injuries and things like that, but his best footy's really good. Before the Dally M voting went behind closed doors, I think he was leading that this year. So there's clearly a good footballer there. I don't know, he seems to kind of fit the style that they're looking to play. He's a good, and that's always an important thing for a halfback as well. Like, I don't know if I'd be rushing out of there, but yeah, I mean, he's allowed to go and test his value. Doesn't mean he's leaving necessarily.
Yeah.
But I don't get the sense, based on the vibe you were getting out of there earlier in the year and the things you were reading, like, it doesn't feel like he's rushing for the exits or anything, but he's just seeing what he's worth and if he can get a bit more cash, which is fair enough.
That's fair enough for sure.
Especially when you look around at, like, other players getting snapped up, obviously the Tigers got pillaged this year, but blokes are leaving on like 700K, and they're not ready for that kind of money yet in some key positions. So he's probably just going, well, why aren't I worth around that amount of money, which is, I completely understand.
I think that's a fantastic point. I reckon he's just gone, well, why shouldn't I try and earn more money? My gut feeling says that I'll be shocked if he leaves the Warriors. I reckon they'll offer him a fair deal, but like, why wouldn't he go test the open market? The word test the open market has become bit negative recently. Like, you're allowed to test your value. I still think the Warriors are heavy favourites.
The problem is, though, all the good clubs, they very rarely let players test the open market. You know what I mean? Like, for example, only recently with the Panthers, like, have they had multiple players willing to test the open market? Really, it's like one, maximum two. It's not. They haven't even gone to test the market. It has been, we cannot re-sign you. And like, you look at Melbourne, like all the clubs that are at top tier, usually their key players do not go to test the open market. And that's my concern, is like, history would suggest that this isn't a winning formula where you've got a key player you're trying to build a premiership around willing to test the open market.
Maybe they've offered him like a fair amount, and maybe he thinks, maybe this points to the Warriors that they're not trying to pay him overs.
But see, I have a feeling, you mentioned the Dragons earlier, I have a feeling they're going to be prepared to pay him over.
And that's why I said the Dragons. I reckon they'll throw a lot of money at him.
I think they are in a position, I've spoken about rolling the dice a fair bit, they're in a bit of a rut where like, when was the last time the Dragons were reasonably expected to make the finals, right? I think when a halfback like Metcalf is on the market, which very, very rarely happens, you kind of do need to snap him up. And I know they've got Kyle there, but maybe he transitions into a 14. He was signed as a hooker.
Yeah. Look, I'm a massive fan of Metcalf. And not just the way he plays. He seems like a legend off the field, but it's just not enough footy for me in NRL to be able to go, here's $800,000 over 3 years. Like, it's just...
What's the alternative for them?
I just think that, like, is he, like, okay, you could go Atkinson. He played, the year he got signed, he played like 10 really good games, so much so that they got into the finals or whatever. Like, you know, I don't think there'd be as much hype around Atkinson as there is around Metcalf right now, even though they kind of, I mean, Atkinson has less injuries, but like kind of had this similar expansive run. Like, I get it. I just, to lock a guy up on 3-year deal, let's say 800K, is that all kind of like what we think he might land on when it's a little bit over what his value would be? Like, there is talent, but availability is one of the key variables for your key men on big contracts. Like, that's the one worry I have with Metcalf. Not to suggest he can't go on and do it, but you got to remember, he already had injury history before his ACL. This is another big injury. So that's where I'm like, I reckon around a 600-700K is probably fair for both parties. All the talent in the world, it's a good wicket, but at the same time, it's future-proofing yourself to a degree where, let's say it doesn't work out, someone can pick up 400, 300K of the contract and you can kind of go somewhere else.
Oh, I actually agree. I agree with the value that you're saying. I fully agree with that, and I agree with the injury history. I'm just trying to think of why
he's thinking.
Why he's going to go for market.
Look, I get what he's thinking. He's thinking, listen, no one's loyal in rugby league. Like, right now, everything's good because I played well, but Metcalf would know better than anyone when you're not playing well and when you've got injuries, you don't get treated well at all, and you get the scraps. You get like, mate, here's your development deal. Be happy you got it. So I get what Metcalf's thinking. It's just, I'm thinking of it from, even though that happens all the time, for a good relationship long term, usually that can't be a part of it. Like, in most situations, like you look at the Melbourne's dominance for a long period of time, you look at Penrith, their key players don't get anywhere near the open market. So tough one.
Truly, there's no doubt the Warriors have offered him an extension, right?
Well, that's the thing.
They have. He rejected it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so look, I'm not ruling out the Warriors being ruthless and they've just massive unders offered him. That could be the case. And if that is the case, then I understand what Metcalf is doing. But if they have offered him around the 600-700K mark, I think that's a pretty good, you play good footy there, you suit it, you've played your best footy of your career there. I think, yeah, so, and like, how old is he now? 26?
Yep.
So, like, let's say you sign a 2-year deal on the lesser amount than what you think you're worth, and you play footy that whole time, then the big contract can come. Yeah. You can get a 3-year deal on, 8 to 900K. Whereas let's say you take the extra money now, but you play poorly at this new club that's not that good, that contract's never coming. So it's a gamble. It's a tough one.
It could all just be as simple, though, as his agent saying, well, doing the analysis we just did and saying there's not a lot of money locked up in the rest of the spine. Maybe we can just squeeze a little bit more. Squeeze a bit more.
Yeah. Let's play a bit of chicken here and like get the feel for if they're going to pull it and just go all the way to the day before they're going to pull it and go, yeah, we'll take it kind of thing. Which is, look, at the end of the day, he's a product. This is a business. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of negotiations. But as I said, I just think that like optics-wise, when it comes to the last 25 years of rugby league, usually the best teams, we don't talk about players going to the market and testing their value. Usually there's a mutual agreement of like, mate, you're a key player. We need you here, and we're going to give you what you need to be here, or vice versa. So it's definitely. And what's interesting is Harris Tavita is also off contract. He was pretty good this year as well. So I think, funnily enough, like I don't think Harris Tavita is going to get an 800K or whatever, but I actually think due to his utility, he'll have probably more clubs interested in him. So his contract will be less, but there are more clubs that will be like, oh yeah, we could use a 14, a 6, a 7, a 9 if he needs to be. I'm glad he's back in the league because I think he's a bloody good player.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing him now in the Pacific Championships playing that 14 role for Samoa. It's a bit of an audition in some respects if he is looking to go to the open market. But yeah, when it comes to 14s, I mean, there's some that I think are in the elite category, but he can grow into that role. Yeah. Especially, as we say, he spent, I think it was 2 years out of the game. That's 2 years of development that he still theoretically could have ahead of him. So
yeah, true. Now, another big news. Jaxon Purdue will reportedly test the open market November 1. Hammy, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be clubs queuing up to sign him, I reckon. And we've seen him, obviously the Cowboys have tried him in a variety of positions this year. Played a lot of good footy at centre. They tried him at 6 a few times, which potentially he could be down the track. But he's obviously still very young, 18, 19 years old. I feel like obviously the new clubs coming in, this is a guy you're like, well, you know, he could be a spine play, could whack him at... I feel like maybe fullback, we've spoken about a little bit, is probably a position he'd be quite well suited to, but he's probably not going to get Scott Drinkwater out of the way up there at North Queensland. So this will be interesting. I could see, you know, this is someone who you could end up seeing getting a big payday, even though it's early in their career. But he's clearly a very talented player, and there's even a bit of origin chat at times this year. So, there'll be a lot of clubs having a look at Jaxon Purdue, I reckon, on November 1.
See, this is super interesting. And the reason why is I'm sure the Cowboys, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming Cowboys are looking at him as a centre, whereas he can get fullback or 6 money. And so that's the tough, like, you've got, if you're the Cowboys, it's the worst position to be in because you're going, okay, you're a centre initially here, but eventually you'll be a 6. We can't afford to pay you halfback money because we've got other people that are going to play halfback this year. However, it seems like the only way they're going to keep him is if they just go, okay, you're a 6 now, because otherwise it seems like he's going to get fullback or 6 money. And so I do empathise with the Cowboys right now because I think most people would agree right now he's probably a centre, but eventually he will be a fullback or 6. I mean, he probably could be a fullback now, but obviously drinking is not going to have his spot taken. So the Cowboys are truly in between a rock and a hard place. Like, what do you do in this situation?
Yeah, I'm with you in the sense that I think they need to offer him a Spiden position if they are to keep him at the club. I view him as Tom Dearden's long-term partner, with Dearden at 7, Purdue at 6. I wonder if potentially, if we think fullback is his best position, I wouldn't do this, but could it be a conversation to move Drinky back to 6 and have him and Dearden?
They try that. He just defensively, like
in the front line.
because like, so when he first came to the club, Hammer was fullback and he was 6 and he struggled a little bit, and then he got an opportunity at fullback. Hammer obviously went out on the bench, but yeah, in a perfect world, like a spine, if Drinky could have decent, not even great defense, just decent defense, a spine of Dearden, Drinky, Purdue is like, that is a good spine.
The interesting thing with him at centre is that I'm very confident he didn't play centres through the juniors. So it's still a position he's very much learning. Once he bulks out, given the quality that he's producing at the NRL level, he could be very, very good. But I don't think they'll be able to convince him that that's his position.
Well, it's honestly, you're essentially halving what your value is. Like if you're a centre in today's, you're probably the 2nd or 3rd least paid player. Whereas if you're a fullback these days, your average is the highest paid player in the competition. So it's literally, it's night and day. It's not even a contest of what, if you're a manager trying to guide him through his career and your focus is financial, gain, it's like, mate, you do not want to be a centre.
Here's a question for you. This one's just occurred to me. You were talking a couple of weeks ago about Katoa from the Dolphins and his long-term 5'8".
Yep.
Could Purdue be an option? Could they work together?
I like the
be
sound
able to
of
stay
it.
in Queensland.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense from an origin perspective.
Quick home, hour or so home for Purdue if he is from
Cowboys
North.
fans losing another young player to the Dolphins after Hammer and Lemuelu and Finafuiaki.
Wow. That would actually be so hectic. If Purdue, and look, you just give Purdue time to work on his defence, like it's going to take a little bit of time. What do you reckon, Matty?
Yeah, I feel for the Cowboys. And unfortunately, I think they have to concede here because if it was up to me in a perfect world, you'd have him at centre for the next year or so. Let him really stay patient with him, basically. Like, I think they put him in 6 too early this year. Kind of didn't fall off, but it didn't go amazingly well. I think he is the long-term 6. I wouldn't have started him round 1, but now that everything's changed. They have to keep him. You cannot lose Jaxon Purdue. I would just make a decision now. Boom, he's the 6. Give him 6 money. Keep him at the club forever.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I think the Cowboys just have to make that tough call.
Yep.
I think that, and look, if he doesn't play well in his first year at 6, I think Cowboys fans have got to be understanding of the situation the Cowboys were forced into, which was, probably they did want to play him at centre, but you don't want to lose a guy that can be at your club for 10 years just because of 1 year where, at centre he plays 9 out of 10 every week. At 6 he plays 7 out of 10 every week. You're not going to lose a player over 2 points of difference of form-wise. And that's not to suggest, look, who knows? Maybe a full preseason at 6 he could kill it. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, looking at his form at 6 compared to centre last year is a bit of a difference. But, yeah, I think they bite the bullet. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna struggle to keep him. I can't see him sticking around to play centre.
No.
That's the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
So there is potentially a spot there at 6 for him, really. Like, they've had Clifford in there with Dearden a little bit through the year. Yeah, there is the opportunity to keep him, but I think there's going to be some big money thrown at him and a lot of interest when he goes to the open market.
because like fullback or six, there are a lot of clubs that could use a
100%.
a top tier outside back.
Yeah.
So like you even look at the Dragons after Gutho, you know, he's at the back end of his career. They've got a lot of money in the salary cap. Tigers could have a lot of money soon.
Yeah.
Got the Dolphins as well we're speaking about. Who else? Like, trying to think who else could play there. I mean, depending what happens at the Raiders, I know they've got a youngish pairing, but you just don't know how that's going to turn out. Like, it could be great, it could be poor.
Perth coming in.
Then PNG obviously coming in a couple of years later.
Far out. It's going to be tough for Cowboys to keep him.
Yeah, you just
They need to play him six, I think, really.
Yeah, like they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like you just got to cop it.
The other thing is, if they view him as the long-term partner for Dearden, with Robson gone next year, I don't know if they're in a premiership window, respectfully. Just do it. Just
Yeah, it's fair.
build towards the future. I'm of that mind where you have to go through the pain in order to get the success.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than, I mean, it's easy for me to say I'm not a head coach, but
Yeah.
rather
Trying to
than
keep
trying to
your
win
job
games
going.
now, win
Yeah.
games in 2 or 3 years' time.
Man, what a weird position, because you're right. That is the correct course. However, Peyton's playing for his job every game this year. So it's like, it's almost like the administration need to make a call here and go, listen, we just need to keep these young guys together for long enough for where it all comes together. Look, I know it's a little bit of a different situation, but like, you know, Walsh and Ezra Mam, they kept them together. Look what eventuated. Carrigan, Haas, and I know it's different because like we're talking about fucking crazy talent, but they did go through a lean patch and they kept that core together and they've won a premiership. I hope he stays at the Cowboys though. I really do, because they don't get enough appreciation. The Cowboys, they're out of sight, out of mind at times. They're a bloody good side to watch. They just need to sort their defense out. Their attack's amazing. So I guess we'll see. Is there anywhere, if you had to gun to head, where do you think he'll land if it's not at the Cowboys? I think your shout of the Perth Bears is a really good one, because they might offer him 800, 900K a year. Like they might even go higher. I'm not sure. Like, I know it's a huge risk, but you just never know.
Yeah, I reckon they're definitely going to be one of the parties that are interested in him.
Yep.
The other one, I don't hate your shout of the Dolphins. I reckon, you know, he could slot in nicely to that. That's a hell of a spine if they throw him in there with, you know, Marshall King, Katoa, and the Hammer there as well. But yeah, I'd imagine Perth will probably be the most. They probably have the most cash available.
Yep.
Give you the most attractive offer.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, Perth most likely, Dolphins most exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they probably don't have money, but wouldn't mind seeing Purdue and Moses together for para.
Ooh, okay.
But I want him to stay, to be honest. I think if I had to gun to head, I'd say Perth, but I don't like it. He's a young gun.
Yeah, you never know. Like, it
Yeah.
could derail the career initially, early on.
The other one is they keep talking about getting fullback to Dogs as well.
Oh, it's true.
So, bro, imagine him with the Dogs at fullback. Oh, stop it. Wow.
That's
And
not bad.
And that's the thing.
it's a
As
good
a
shout.
manager, he's had all these thoughts in his head. So there's no way he was going to go and just like not go to market, because he's probably aware that there's so many other clubs talking like we're talking.
Yeah.
I hope he stays at the Cowboys. Okay, Tyran Wishart, he will reportedly test his value in the open market November 1. Another guy that, you know, he played some bloody good football in first grade, like probably the most versatile player in the friggin' comp right now. An out and out 6. Interesting that he's going to test his value though, because like, I don't think it's a sure thing that Pezzett gets that 6 jersey when Munster leaves. Like, I know everyone all the articles just go, no, yeah, he's the next guy up. It's like, is he? Like even this year when Bellamy was selecting the guys when Munster was out, it was a toss-up between Wishart and Pezzett. And I think Wishart's more of a 7. I think Pezzett's more of a 7. And I actually think if you're bringing Pezzett in to be the next half, you're moving Hughes to 6. Because Hughes absolutely plays like a 6. And so, interesting. Is that a sign of the direction Storm potentially are heading with Wishart going to open market?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think a lot of people are rather dismissive of Wishart as he's just a 14, because that's what we've seen him as. It depends how much he believes in himself. I always just kind of felt he'd end up playing for the Dragons one day. I don't know, we literally just had this conversation with Metcalf.
Yeah, and he left the Dragons as well, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
And
from there.
It's because, you know, his dad, you know, obviously had that legacy there. But I don't see him getting to the end of his career and not being a 7 somewhere. The only thing is...
A 7, not a 6, you think?
Sorry, 6 somewhere, 6-1. The only thing that is interesting to me, I think, is that 14 role at the Storm, there's a lot of players who'd want to play in that role. Say Chanel Harris-Tavita, we spoke about, he'd give heaps to go there. So he's in a good position. It just depends what his ambition is. Would he rather make a name for himself or stay there and be more likely to win a comp?
I just Googled his salary. Apparently he's on 350, which is heavy unders.
for a half as well. Like he can play, and also when Munster was out, I think it was last year, or whatever. They, wouldn't say they didn't miss a beat, but they, pretty bloody good when he was out.
Yeah. I reckon he'll move on. I think he wants to, to your point, like make a bit of a name for himself. Lead a team around, do all that sort of thing, and earn some big bickies as well, which he's probably entitled to do. All very well staying somewhere and constantly being prelim grand final. But like, obviously you want to win a comp, but he's got to get paid too.
Yeah. Like it's almost like if you could make him have already achieved what he needed to achieve, so that he could sit at 14 to a degree and have success towards the back, or at least, flip it, and he's already earned his money. And now he was trying to win a premiership at the Melbourne Storm, but he's in his prime of his career right now. You want to get the big contract while it's there. I think he'll make a bloody good 6. I really do. Like week in, week out, playing 6, his running game is outstanding. So it looks like that Pezzet's the next guy. I've got to say, I am intrigued. Like, can Pezzett and Hughes work together? It's an interesting one because like Pezzett seems like the main guy. Hughes has clearly shown he is the main guy. I'm not as convinced, like, I'm not saying it won't happen, but people that are sure that Pezzett and Hughes can work, I'm not as convinced as that.
I'm with you, just because, like, when this whole chat about Pezzett going to the Eels, like, I felt the same thing with Moses and Pezzett.
Don't get it. I don't get it.
It feels sideways to me.
Like whereas a team that needs a genuine 7, I think Pezzett will be great for that. Yeah. Thoughts, boys, with the Pezzett Storm situation?
Yeah, well, there's a bit of chat that, you guys knocked him back, didn't you, Matty?
South don't have an established 7. South could use Pezzett.
It'd be great for South.
Didn't you knock him back? Wasn't there a bit of chat?
Apparently for a loan deal. Apparently they're all in on the young guys.
Yeah, gotcha. He's a hell of a player. I thought he was fantastic when he came in through the back of the year. And he definitely feels like a 7, good kicking game.
Yep.
He's probably in a similar position to Wishy, obviously a year or two behind, but getting to a bit of a stage where he's like, all right, I'm probably ready to play first grade now. Where am I going to get the best chance to do that? Can keep developing at the Storm, or I feel like he's probably done his time there. He's probably ready to head out there and go elsewhere. There was a bit of chat about the Dragons maybe as well. So I feel like he's probably one that will leave, would be my hunch.
Yeah, okay. And just looking at this quickly.
I was going to say, this hasn't been a club that's really been involved in the conversations, at least to my knowledge, but I believe Pezzett's a Newcastle boy. We're talking about Dylan Brown potentially needing a more game-managing halfback. Could that be the way?
Then Sharp, Ponga moves on, Sharp goes to fullback?
Yeah, and then, I guess they have Sandon Smith there as well, but he could...
I don't think Sandon Smith's an out-and-out 7, though.
Neither do I, but I think Holbrook thinks he might be. Or at least maybe play Brown at 7 and Sandon at 5.
Yeah, okay.
From what I'm hearing, is a huge fan of Sandon.
Okay.
But, like, even if Sandon's there, I'm signing Pezzett, and Pezzett's my halfback. Like, Sandon can play in the team somewhere, but if there's a chance to sign Jonah Pezzett to be a halfback, I'm taking him if I'm the Knights.
Because Sandon's a great 14, like a bloody good 14. Super interesting. Yeah, so November coming up soon. We'll actually have a full-on trade show with all the information. Like Code Sport's going to give us a real deep insight to how it's all working, wages, all that good stuff. Okay, that was brought to you. Shout out, exclusive Squarespace deal currently on the Bloke Club. Take 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain for the Bloke Club members. So go to www.bloke.club, join. There's plenty of deals there, guys. Also brought to you by Good Day, begoodhealth.com.au. Grab your Good Day, use code DMP for a discount. Alrighty, let's get into... You've got some Rugby 360 chat, mate.
I got a little bit, just a few thoughts. I mean, obviously we saw the news about the 10-year bans that have been enforced. I think it's really interesting in terms of messaging that Peter V'landys came out initially and was very, very bullish about saying that there's nothing for the NRL to worry about. Rugby 360 doesn't have a case at all. And then you see a move that was that drastic. Overall, I mean, I've been asked a lot what I think of R360. I'm not overly fussed about it. I think if players go... good on them for earning the money. I think we have enough talent in the NRL to replace them, but it's an interesting approach.
It's super aggressive. I get it. Like as fans, we're viewing a product, and yes, obviously you care about the ethics and morals, and you want players to be treated relatively well. But I think at the end of the day, most of our priorities, I just want to be entertained by the game. And it's probably going to get lost in everything that happens. But I just think it's really a shit go that you're basically robbing some guys of earning life-changing money. Like I just think it's all because like you're saying things like, oh, if it all falls over, you know, you're going to be left with nothing. It's a nothing competition. It's like, well, that's the risk they take. Like, you're not their father. Like, if they go over there and it falls apart and they don't get paid, they're not going to turn around and say, hey, NRL, you shouldn't have let me sign it. Like, I really don't like the fact, because my understanding is there are clubs that are fully on board with the messaging of 10-year ban. So it's not just... My understanding is Lenny's is representing their interest, like as in they are saying to him, this is what we want to happen. And so, you know, Lenny's will cop a lot of the flack for coming out and saying what he said. But again, my understanding is he's representing, like if the clubs came out and said something different, he may be saying something different. You know what I mean? Like he's just the figurehead. His job is to represent the club's interests, or at the very least what the clubs say their interest is. And that's what I find really disappointing. I'd hate to think there are clubs out there, because they're so scared of losing talent, that they're going to rob one of their players of a life-changing situation. Like, you know, if this was a different sport where you didn't break your body, I could kind of like get on board a little bit. But these guys are genuinely damaging their bodies for the rest of their life. Doesn't matter if you think that you have damaged your body or not. If you've played NRL for anywhere longer than 3 or 4 years, you will have lifetime of problems from it. Now, the problems may vary. It might be just a little bit of difference. It might be a lot of difference. And to suggest that it's like, well, no, we want to keep this business going really well, so you can't earn that money. It just doesn't sit well with me. I hate it. Look, I think it's a threat. I think that now I also got advice as well that it would actually be relatively cheap to challenge it in High Court. So it actually wouldn't cost that much money, which is a good thing for the players. Interesting to watch. I'm just disappointed that there's going to be players that are just going to go, you know what, I don't want the headache. I don't want to be, because like we don't know for sure, but let's assume the first person to do was going to be villainised by the media. Like, let's be real here. Yep. They're not going to champion him, that's for sure. They're not going to be like, hell yeah, man, stick it to the man. Like, you're going out and you're earning your potential. No, it's going to be, he's the worst fucking bloke in the world. So,
well, Lomax didn't even sign yet, and still that was a whole media thing.
Look, because it sells papers, I get it. I hate the rugby league player, I get it. But look, I will say though, if you're currently contracted and you break your contract to leave without the consent of the person you're contracted to, absolutely 10-year ban. Like if you walk out on your club and the club has not agreed to a release, mate, I've got no issue with a ban. No, especially if you're already on really good money, I've got no issue with a ban there. But if you do all fair play, the club agrees to release you, or it's in your last year, I think the boys should be able to earn whatever they want to earn. I really do. It's their decision. They're adults. I think it's unfair to be treating them like they're children, in my opinion. Anything else on Rugby 360, guys? No?
Be interesting.
I don't want to talk about it all off season. I'll tell you that much for sure.
Yeah.
For free.
Well, I would like to just know what it is first. Like,
It's so vague.
What it is, and then I'll start worrying about it then, because at the moment it's just like we're pissing in the wind here.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm waiting for a more concrete move from them before we can really say much more.
It's interesting because like you speak to some people and it's literally a G up, and you speak to other people and you're like, no, this is coming and it's happening. So like we'll see. Could you imagine if it's like nothing and we've just dedicated a whole off-season news cycle to something that doesn't exist? But that actually would be in rugby league.
Absolutely. That's our heritage.
That is our heritage, just talk about nonsense. I will say, now that the Perth Bears are coming back in, we've lost an off-season story. So there's got to be something that comes in. So maybe we could do Rugby 360 every off-season.
Yeah, I reckon this will be the new one.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, let's get into the Fiji Cook Islands game. And I said on Friday, we went down to PAX down in Melbourne, which was so good to see. The amount of people dressed up as their favourite video character. I took Matty down too with him. It's a whole new world to him. And obviously we were with Lontel down there. It was a great weekend, but we got some collector's edition like... are they on the table or did I take it home? Oh, no, actually, you know what? They're over here. Oh, yeah. Oh. Collector's edition, baby. This is number 1. We've got 50 of these. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We've got Lontel at the back. We're going to do something. I'm thinking of doing some streams in the off-season. A great new game came out, Arc Raiders, and it's quite streamable. So we're going to maybe do that, and I'll let you know. But it's obviously brought to you by Lontel.
Get a couple of Canberra Raiders players in to stream with you.
Absolutely.
Literally the Arc Raiders.
Literally the Arc Raiders.
We'll do a collab, me and my second channel, Leaguie Games. With,
Leaguie Games? Okay. I like that.
Yep.
I like that. And so, yeah, if you had to have checked my story on the weekend, you saw me download Battlefield 6, 75 gigs in 4 minutes. That's Lontel Internet, baby. Go to lontel.net.au/bloke. Use code bloke. Get 7 days free trial. No contracts, no credit cards, all that good stuff. You guys know the drill. If you want good internet, go to lontel.net.au/bloke. Okay, Fiji defeat the Cook Islands 44-24. I think that obviously they were heavy favourites. I think the Cook Islands got out to about $4.50, like $4.50 to $5. So pretty accurate. Like it's a mixture of both things. Like good solid win for Fiji, but at the same time, when you look at Cook Island and like the players they have, like to score 24 points is pretty good as well. I think the main watch for me with this stuff is just hoping that Fiji can become like Samoa and Tonga. And all of a sudden, like the international game look how excited most people were for the game on the weekend. If you add Fiji into the mix, like it just makes the international game even better. And they're slowly getting there. They don't probably have the same depth, but as you said earlier, like that was the same as Samoa and Tonga, a few years ago. So really good win. Bula was absolutely outstanding. I will say Ito's first try, he's tried about the 20th minute mark or whatever. Mm-hmm. Bro, like he is a top tier centre. He's another guy that, it's his first year this year, so probably isn't going to get the recognition he deserves. If he keeps playing the way he did this year, he will be a top tier centre. Outstanding. What do you think of this game, mate?
Yeah, it's hard to be critical of Fiji with that scoreline. I mean, they got out to a very, very heavy lead, and then Cook Islands were realistically let back into it.
Yep.
But in the context of last year, this game ended 56-6. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good sign of where Cook Islands have come. And if you do take out that opening 20 minutes, which is a big if, it was 24-0, but Cook Islands actually won the rest of the game.
Wow.
Which, when you look at the relative strength of the two sides on paper, I think is very impressive. I mean, the Cook Islands, they had Piakura from the NRL, they had Iro from the NRL, but it was very few and far between.
And there's whispers that Holmes might play for him when he's injured.
Committed to them.
Yeah,
the only reason he didn't play this year was because he's injured, but he did tell the coach that he's committed. You got the likes of, as well, I don't think Willison will be dropped from the Kiwis, but he's eligible for the Cook Islands. There's a number of guys.
Yeah, okay. That's going to be sick to watch. If they can build up as well, jeez. What do you think about the game, mate, and the result?
Obviously, Dream Buller was exceptional for a hat-trick in 12 minutes and obviously 4 tries overall. He was fantastic. Obviously, we've all been big Kurt Donahue fans on this show, so good to see him. And probably the first time that he kind of really leapt to our attention was probably 2 years ago in this same side. So he's just going from strength to strength and going really well. Shout out, though, I was going to give to Brandon Wakeham. Notched up 100 test match points in this game.
No way.
I was like, geez, that one really crept under the radar, didn't it?
Yeah. Because he's been there 7 for a while now, hasn't he?
He has.
Quite a while.
He obviously played the Dogs and the Tigers, now Manly. So, shout out to him. Well done.
Shout out.
I do want to say as well, credit Jareem Buller, because the record before this game for most tries scored for Fiji in the game was 3.
Oh,
and
really?
he got 4 in one half.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Very impressive from him.
Wow. Taruva, 154 metres, 5 tacklebacks. Tonga, really good for Eels to see him continue his good form. Like you could see the talent earlier in the year with Katonga. He came from the Bulldogs, but you could just see how rough around the edges he was. By the end of the year, he wasn't perfect, but he definitely had improved. So it's really good to see that he's continuing on that trajectory. It's
Caleb Navale got that dog in him too from Manly. 49 tackles, got a try, 107 metres. He's good football.
I was going to say, it's good for Kurt Donahue just to see him have a game where he doesn't have to actually belt his body within an inch of its life just to be on the field. Like every game he played for the Dolphins, like he was like shotting blokes, getting shotted, whereas he could just kind of play his normal role in this game.
Yeah.
Just quickly back on Navale, I think it's a very interesting watch for Manly fans in particular. With Jake Droyvich coming towards the end of his career.
And they're desperate for middles.
Exactly. Navale's maybe a little bit of a smaller body through the middle, a bit of a Gerbo style. That's really, really interesting to see him in this role for Fiji.
Well, you could argue that he's probably going to play a lot of NRL this year because they've gotten rid of 3 front rowers and they haven't really recruited anyone. Obviously, they've got Kurt Hetherington. He'll play 13, I'd have to assume. Mm-hmm. Their starting front row will be Paseka Gerbo, probably, with Hetherington 13, Bullymore off the bench. They've got Brown, but they tried to trade him. So, he might be the next man up.
And Navale, he's been playing lock all year in reserve grade.
Yeah,
okay.
He played probably, a handful of games at the end of the year.
But he played a few games this year,
yeah.
Ella's very bullish on him. I think he's going to be a good player.
Okay. Is he Bullymore on him?
Very Ethan Bullymore-ish. Yeah.
Dream Bullish, I like that one as well.
Dream Bullish, yeah.
Yeah, look,
nice.
You're not the only one that can have puns, mate. That's too.
I'm coming for your job, mate.
Too good. Yeah.
Okay. Great game to watch. All right, a little bit of a preview, but won't be that long because it's next week, next Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
This week,
Sunday morning,
12:30 a.m.
Sunday
Sydney
morning
time.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be watching the replay. No, thanks.
I'll be getting up for it. I'll be streaming those ones live. Can't wait.
Listen, bro, when you got 2 kids, you're taking every second you can get.
Yeah.
Okay, so the England side, potential side, sorry, Wellesby at fullback, Yong. Oh my God.
Sorry, this is what I said. League actually you reckon you've got your potential
to be honest,
side.
it's pretty much exactly this side with only one change in a hooker.
Okay.
There's a lot of players that are very high quality in the Super League that a lot of Australian fans don't pay attention to as much. One that I'm looking for particularly is Jake Wardle, who I think will be one of the centres next to Herbie Farnworth. English fans rave about him.
Okay.
He's genuinely considered one of the best centres that there is. George Williams, obviously, we're familiar with in at 5'8". He's played a lot of that for Warrington, I believe he's playing for. But a big question mark for the England side is the halfback jersey. Harry Smith is a Wigan Warriors halfback, but that number 14 there, Mikey Lewis, has just won a premiership with Hull KR.
Okay.
He won the Man of Steel last year. So the halves is a real interesting one for them. Then, yeah, the only other ones in terms of like sort of question mark positions is the hooker position. You've got Daryl Clark, who has been their hooker for quite a long time. He's very serviceable. Watched an interview Sean Wayne did, the England coach, and he said, Daryl Clark is my man.
Okay.
But Jez Litton, he's not as experienced at the international level, but just won the premiership with Hull KR. So
I'll
there's
tell
a
you
few
what,
interesting ones.
there are Super League fans here right now that are going, finally someone on this panel knows something about Super League, so you'll be a fan favourite with them. Okay, where are their strengths and where are their weaknesses in this England side, do you think?
Yeah, so I think obviously Herbie Farnworth is a huge strength. He's probably, in my opinion, the best centre in the NRL, so he'll be definitely good for them. I think a very interesting spot for them is the forwards. So they've got a lot of guys who are very tough, very serviceable. You look at the likes of Alex Wormsley, who's starting in the front row in that predicted squad. I think he's 35 years old. He's just one of these rugged veterans for St Helens. If he can stand up physically in the early exchanges against the likes of Tino and Patrick Carrigan, that's where you then get the likes of Kai Pearce-Paul with a bit more X factor, who could create stuff. I'm not overly optimistic about the strength of the side in general, but with the conditions over there, they do have enough quality to at least win one of the games, I think.
And also, like, you know, with how much it means to them compared to us, like, obviously wearing an Australian jersey, it always should mean, guys, like, let's be real here. England, like, haven't won one in 20 years in Ashes series?
We haven't had one in 20
Since I think 1970 was the last time.
Oh, okay. So
interestingly, the total wins, so since 1908, is split 20 Australia, 19 England.
wow.
It's very even.
That's crazy. So that means they must have dominated us for
They
a period
did
there.
back in the day. Yeah.
Jeez, that's interesting. Yeah, wow. Okay. So, like, it's going to, you know, you add that into the fact they're at home. Like, I don't think this is going to be a complete domination maybe it will be 3-0, but it won't be just a blowout every game. I don't think that's the case. Maybe even 2-1. I look at this Aussie forward pack, though, the starting one, and I go, oh, yeah, that's what I like to see. Paddy Carrigan, Harry Grant, Tino, Young, Crichton, Yo. That gets me going.
One man I really would have picked to counter that Australian forward pack is Junior Nsenba. He's a brilliant Super League player. That's a name you're going to hear a lot more of in the NRL in the future. He's a big boy, very much sort of in the Kai Pearce-Paul mould. I would have gone with that kind of size to combat the likes of Tino and all that, but they've decided to go with more of a sort of tough, rugged approach. But you look at that Australia side. I mean, I've often made the case from an international perspective that if all of the heritage players that could play for the Kangaroos played for the heritage nations, Australia is still a star-studded team.
Yeah.
And that's the energy that I sort of get from these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Reece Walsh in an Australian jersey, does it get much better? Does it get much better? I don't think it does.
Tedesco's better.
That's good. That's good. Nwangani Tuase, like...
I'm also frothing to see the Fox back out there as well.
Yeah, bloody oath.
It's out, like, when was it, the World Cup that was in the UK a couple of years ago? He was just unstoppable.
Mate, I tell you what, like, Stags, of course Stags should be there, but, like, Shibasaki there, it just blows my mind. If you've been watching footy for the last, decade, you would have seen Shibasaki's early time, and you would have said, why is that bloke that's so big, so strong, so powerful, not the best player on the field? And he just never lived up to his potential. And then all of a sudden he gets one last chance and he's playing for Australia and he was outstanding this season.
Yeah. I think
incredible.
It's one of the great stories over the course of a season. I mean, all due respect to him, he was a bit of a meme player, coming into this season. A lot of people would
because he had the potential.
Exactly.
You don't get memed if you're just like not that good.
100%.
Like you get memed if it's like, bro, you should be a gun.
But he would have known that. He would have known that was the legacy that he was potentially leaving behind. He just went all in the Broncos this year, and I'm so glad to see him rewarded with an international jersey.
I actually kind of like that he had his little hiccup as well, because like he obviously shot like he's been in around the traps for a decade, shot to like the top basically with Origin, and then had his little thing, which would have been like a huge reality check for him.
Yep.
And since then he's won a grand final and now played for Australia. It's a great year for him.
Insane. I tell you what, a back row of Hudson Young and Crichton gets me going. That gets me going.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, those guys, it's interesting with the rotation. I've put together my own predicted squad. Those are both 80-minute back rowers. You then look at the bench where you've got the likes of Ruben Cotter, who sometimes plays back row on the international level. Keon, I think, is a middle. But if you've got Collins, Cotter, and Keon,
it's three middles essentially.
Yeah, and then the guys that you're starting are Tino and Carrigan.
Yeah,
they're
we play big minutes.
Forward, so
yeah,
where do these guys all fit?
That's a great point. Yeah, you're right. You've got 2 big minute front rowers that you don't really want to play in less than 50 minutes. Like, fuck. I mean, because like they're
Same
both.
with Yo's going to be on the field.
Yeah, he'll play probably, unless are they going to bring Keon on for? Interesting. So Lindsay will get 20 minutes max, I'd say max. And I'm trying to work out. They'll probably just forced to take off one of those back rowers to put on.
But where that's an exciting advantage for them is that they can say, put together 50 of your best minutes.
Yep.
And that's a huge worry for England, because all these guys together, it's a hell of a combination.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Keon as well, because he's always played well in rep footy.
Yeah.
Like he was great for New South Wales when he played. Dearden at 14, you know he's going to come on and kill it. Like, you just know. Yeah, I mean, great side. I can't wait for this clash. It's going to be so good. You've got a bit of a spicy take, though.
In the green rooms.
In the green.
Jaws are on the floor.
This, as an Australian, this hurt my soul.
This is one I've seen playing out in my head for a while.
This up, Matty.
Clip this up. Clip it up.
I am a rugby league fan above all else.
Above your nation?
Yes. And I want to... it would mean so much more to England if they won. If Australia win this, a week later, we're not talking about it anymore. We have moved on. We care about the NRL. We could lose this series and it changes nothing here. If they win the series, it means so much to them. They're a struggling league right now. They need something to go their way. And I know it's England, but rugby league is not a big enough sport for us to be, tearing each other down. We need to support the Super League.
Ooh. And look, in the green one, we said the same thing. Look, I can cop the Kiwis, Kazera, Anzac brothers. Definitely cop Tonga Samoa, But England beating us? I can't do it. I can't go that far, bro. I can't go with you there.
No.
Hammy, can you go with
No,
me?
I can't, definitely not. Can't go with you, with the greatest respect. I want an 8-0 Ashes result this summer. I want to win 3-0 in the Rugby League Ashes, and I want to win 5-0.
Cricket, I'm with you. Rugby league.
Matty, are you with him there? Can you go with him?
I nearly fell off my chair in the green room. Honestly, I did. I don't want England to beat Australia in literally anything. I don't want them to come close. And you know what? Now that you've said that, it makes me hope they win by even more now.
I've poked the bear.
So let us know in the comment section. Is there a party that goes, you know what? I want League to grow. I want them to be all hyped and stoked that they beat Australia. Are you on the? Are you the league? Are you a Leaguie? Are you a Leaguie? But I get what you're saying though. Like for the game of rugby league, it's exactly what the Super League needs right now. You see all these problems with money and people, not being able to pay their players, and there's a lot going on in the Super League at the moment. Granted, they did just bring, 4 teams into the...
Yeah, York Knights, Bradford Bulls are back.
Toulouse.
That have not. Yeah, Toulouse are in.
Yep.
London Broncos unlucky to miss out.
Wait their turn.
Yeah.
Surely that's already been pre-agreed that they're not in the Super League. Like, because why would you not take the London Broncos in when Darren Lockie's just come and took over the club?
A independent organisation called IMG came in, did a ranking of all the clubs based on all sorts of different factors, and they were just narrowly missed out, basically.
But
so it's on merit.
It's on merit? Oh, man.
I understand that, and they are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
They've signed Campbell Gillard, Saliva Havili. I think Dimitro's in as coach. I wanted to see them in the Super League. But maybe 1 year in the championship to get all of that right and make sure that this isn't just, a short-term thing.
But you know what? Attention sells the sport. What is attention is if Darren Lockyer's side every single week. It'll be Darren Lockyer's London Broncos lose, or Darren, you know what I mean?
That is true.
It's just like it's in the news all the time because it's Darren Lockyer is connected to it. Whereas like those other sides, respectfully, obviously them winning is in the news, but it's not like for example, if like they go in and go on this crazy run, it'll be in the news over here about Darren Lockyer's turned the London Broncos around, and if they go terribly, it'll still be here. Anyway.
I gained a lot of Super League fans in talking about England. I'm about to lose a bunch of them in saying that you look at places like Castleford and Wakefield, these places are not the future of rugby league. If we're looking to expand the Super League, it is London.
Yeah, okay.
It is all that. So that sort of, though, contributes to a bit of a conservative attitude with rugby league in England, because a lot of the fans of these smaller towns, they know if we have Toulouse coming in or London coming in, very quickly we're going to be weeded out. So there is a bit of a resistance there, which could have contributed.
Yeah, okay. As in, like, so if these big clubs come in, as a small club, we won't be able to compete?
Yeah,
Is that kind of feeling?
I was a huge fan of the Toronto Wolfpack a few years ago. I went to Toronto to see them play, but there was a lot of resistance in England to them. So that could have played a role for sure.
What about that contract? Was it Sonny Bill that got like $1 million to not even play?
No, it was 9 million over 2 years.
He played one game. I was at that game. I think it was in Warrington. It was the easiest money he's ever earned. But they were voted out when COVID hit by the other Super League teams. It was genuinely, that is the greatest what if in rugby league history. That club would have been huge.
And so I for some reason just assumed it was because they ran out of money or something like that. So it wasn't that.
It was COVID came along.
Yeah.
And so you obviously had this issue with borders of one team playing in Canada, and the other Super League teams who, like I said, already their fans were a little bit off the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but they were like, it's not really worth the hassle. So we're going to not include Toronto, and that was the end of them. They worked their way. They came in, worked their way from the third tier up to the first tier, and had about 3 games up there before they were voted out.
Wow.
Rugby league has a history of just and
they've done exactly what, you spoke about merit with the London Broncos. They did that. They literally
they
come
earned
from
their stripes.
all the way, and they got voted out. Oh my God.
They signed the highest profile player you could in Sonny Bill. Did everything correct. They were paying the airfares of teams to come over to Canada. It was such a good operation.
I wonder if he got the full 9 million though. Surely there's a clause like if we get voted out, I don't have to frigging pay you.
Well, the dude who owned it was like this rich miner from Perth, so he would have had the money to pay him out.
9 million?
Perth, yeah.
Not bad.
Jeez, far out. Alrighty, let's get a prediction. Let's get a prediction for Face the Music.
Yeah, we can face music.
Let's face the music then. Let's face it. Brought to you by Sportsbet.
All right, so the head-to-head market for this game, England $4.50, Australia $1.20. The line's 12.5 points in this one. Love to get your result and a try score. A try score market's not live yet. They'll obviously come out when the teams are named a little bit later in the week, but working our way off this the team lists here, we can probably lock a couple in.
I'm going to go Nwanga Nituase. I'll go anytime, but also I'll go 2 or more.
Okay.
We don't have to add that, but I just want to let him know that he's going to score 2 tries.
Follow down on the feed, obviously.
He'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you. Good mates. I'm going to go Australia 1-12.
Yep, 275. That's it.
And I'm going to say our completion rate is under 75%. We would still win.
Can't bet on that, but like the specificity. What have you got for us?
I'll go Australia. Although
he said he didn't want to say that. He didn't want to say it.
I think Australia will win.
1-12. Yep, 275.
For anytime try scorer, I've got a bit of a rogue shout here, but Joe Burgess, winger for England, rugby league trivia nerds will know he used to play for the Roosters and the Rabbitohs.
I remember.
Back in 2016. Yeah. It's his first games that he's played for England since 2015. Wow. He's been called back into the side after winning the sabbatical. Yeah. Nice. So, a bit of omenry there. I reckon you can get in.
Okay.
Yeah, Australia 13 plus and Reece Walsh anytime.
Okay, yeah, $1.91 you're getting for the 13 plus. I'm going to go Australia 13 plus as well. I'm going Hudson Young anytime. I think he'll smash over. I've liked what I've seen from him. Hey, I want to get one as well for Tonga Samoa as well.
Okay.
This game a little bit, or in fact a lot closer. $1.90 a piece. The traders can't split them. So, yeah, I'd love to get a result here and obviously a try scorer as well.
I'm going to go biggie. I'm going Tonga 13 plus.
Yep, 440.
I'm just a big Katoa believer.
Yep.
They're fresh. It's their first game, so all that energy like that. So Tonga 13 plus. And anytime try scorer, I will go. I'll go Katoa.
Yep, I don't mind that shout.
I'm actually going the other way.
Okay.
I think we saw Samoa blowing out the cobwebs a bit in game one. We could have Tonga doing the same thing. So I'll go Samoa 1-12.
Yep.
And for any time try scorer, Dean Mariner is going to be frothing a try after the game that he's just had. He'll do anything to score. So Mariner.
Yep. Nice.
I will go Samoa head to head. I'm unsure. I actually think they might put a bit of a score on them just because they played the one game. I have a feeling Samoa's going to win the Pacific Championships. It's a bit of a bold call considering they just lost, but I'm going to go Samoa. I'll go Blaze Talangi anytime.
Blaze Talangi anytime. Okay, I'm going to go with Tonga head to head, and I'm going to take Rob Toya.
Ooh,
anytime.
okay.
I know he's been a bit more defensive, through the season, but I just reckon, obviously had a great Origin series. I reckon he'll score.
A man after my heart, Hammy.
Okay.
There you go.
That's Space Music, brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbetter. Thank you as always. Done and dusted. Make sure to give Dill a follow. The
Great
Leaguies.
debut.
What a great
Great
debut.
debut.
Great debut.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can afford him next week. His value would have skyrocketed.
That was a Luke Brooks debut back in 2013. He's hoping that the rest of it doesn't follow on.
Where's my barbecue?
Well, I tell you what, we're not putting you on $1 million. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Make sure to give Leaguie a follow. Instagram, YouTube. Got a point of difference with the Super League as well, so unique stuff being spoken about there. Anything else going on, Matty? No.
Don't think so.
We've got some player interviews coming out soon.
Yep, tomorrow.
Jamie Humphries coming out. Got Keegan Hipgrave coming out after that. We're sitting down with some players as well this week. But as usual, I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.